All right, I think we're good. Hello, everyone. Welcome. All right, a lot of webinar numbers, but it looks like 163 is the general decided upon one. So hey, how's it going, everyone? Welcome to the MentorFX private mentorship. This is webinar 163. We'll drink some coffee, get the day started right, and then we'll go from there. Got a very nice cappuccino here. I was just looking at the chat before we started this, and we had J Rose. What's up, J Rose? Hope you're here, by the way. Hope you're doing well. That's what EVC is. EVC is something you actually already use. It's just that we've created an easier way to think about and view it. Just an easier way to think about timeframes. Nothing more. 3-step process in the portal. So as a lot of you may also know, it is also, wait, can you guys see me? Yeah, you can. Okay. As a lot of you may also know, it's also in the portal, right? So at the moment, and it's very important that I talk about this in the webbies as well. So first of all, welcome aboard to anybody that's brand new. It's amazing to have you guys on here. And very quickly, you know, it's likely that when you jump into these kind of first time or whatever, it may be a little bit confusing because we kind of just jump right into from what we were doing before to what we're doing currently, and people get to chime in from a few weeks ago, from months ago, and you know it's all an ongoing. It's basically an ongoing call. So the fact that you've shown up is a huge first step, as I like to say, and as long as you continue showing up, everything will continue to make sense and become more and more understandable over time. Now, simultaneously, a lot of you that are new should be, and this is the most important thing ever, be going through the portal, the MentorFX portal. So as a lot of you guys know, the course content has basically been distilled. So we took a lot of the, you know, from the old stuff that exists, the archived. We've created the overall course content, which simply is this right here. And as you head over to it, so either through this or on the website, so here you are, you can just click on this members portal thing. So you actually have a few things up here. You have the screener, the sentiment viewer, and the members portal. You guys don't have to worry much about the sentiment viewer because it'll be instilled into the screener for all of you. But in the members portal, which is very important, so make sure you actually open it and sign into it. You know, it might, here, I'll show you guys what it'll look like. When you head over and you actually click on it, you'll likely be met with this. You simply log in with the exact same Discord, right? Everything is very easy. You don't have to set up new accounts or anything like that. Just authorize it. Very simple, and you end up here, right? And then within here, as a lot of you know, we have continued to release and put out very, very, in my opinion, okay, very good information. And I think that has been reflected in a lot of the members that have gotten a chance to work through it, right? Complete your course. Yeah, don't worry, man. I'll complete it. I'm working on it. All right. As a lot of you are as well. Okay. Now, there is a lot to still be added to this, but for things like, you know, what is EVC, or what is this thing that Ment might be talking about in this moment, right? What's going on? The reality is it should exist here, and if it doesn't, it will. And you can see even when I open up timeframes here, you're going to see very quickly what, you know, a little bit of acronyms that you might be confused about or might not be aware of. And even then we'll cover them in webinars and whatnot, like these webinars today. But these are some of the EVC videos. Most recent videos have so much sauce. I'm glad to hear that, Compman. I maybe for Compman, because I know we've spoken a little bit, maybe some of those recent videos help you a lot more with deciding your own entry timeframes, right? Because I know you have a profitable system, a very good system, but maybe something that's standing in between you, like fully executing and doing it, is just responsibilities in life or whatever it might be, and all of a sudden it might be the case that just one switch up of understanding timeframes changes the way that you approach your entire system, right? Which is always the goal. So we have a few very helpful videos here, and we're about to actually release the next one. I actually made it public, just the first part of it, but it's the discussion of lower entry timeframes or higher entry timeframes in regards to their advantages and disadvantages. And as to kind of begin this webinar today, You know, I don't know if you guys have seen the most recent public YouTube video, but either way, you can check that out after. But it will also be available within the members portal. So it will be in the members portal around here. The advantages and disadvantages, and it'll be a part 1 and 2. So the public YouTube video is only part 1, but I thought it'd be very important for, you know, someone that might not be fully aware of what we do here to see it, understand it, because then, well, then they might get a little bit better and become part of the team in the future. Alex says, Anton, you release videos faster than I'm able to watch them. Good, good. And as a lot of you guys know, right, I of course have particular personal views over timeframes and whatnot, right? I've always taught you guys to think in the way that timeframes don't really matter. It's the actual setups and what you're doing that actually matters, and then everything else is relative. And that is very true. However, there are distinct differences and distinct skill-based differences, let's say from a skill-based of like emotions, of how much work it's actually going to take, that can become easier or harder based on the timeframe you choose. So funny enough, the more work I've done, the more people I've worked with, the more members I've seen become profitable, the more members I've also seen become not profitable and potentially leave or choose not to pursue it, right? Because you see all sorts of things, and you guys have seen it too. One of the main things that that I can certainly say, okay, is that the lower you go, so very simply, I'm gonna put an arrow to this guy right here. The lower you go, the harder, okay, trading is. It's gonna take a lot more from you as a person before you can start trading profitably, in my opinion. In my opinion, this might be, you know, I might have a wrong opinion, but I think this has been the case for everyone I've seen. And the reason for that is because it takes a lot more from you emotionally, decision-wise, analysis-wise, time-wise, okay, to do this thing profitably and very consistently with no issue, okay? Now, as a lot of you also know, this is where I started, right? Like a lot of my upbringing and background came from learning and trying to force myself to do a version of this. And there's nothing wrong with it, right? And and very, very importantly, what I want a lot of you to pay attention to is I did not write 1 minute, 5 minute. I also did not write 1 day, 1 week. I wrote the higher you go and the lower you go. Because I want you to understand that it's not about the specific time frame, it's about what happens based on the time frame that you decide that you're gonna trade for yourself, right? So a lot of the most recent EVC stuff in the members portal, so the most recent EVC stuff, right, has been a big focus on you, right? And a lot of you are going to basically tailor a system to yourselves, especially if you're brand new. This is what you're learning to do. You start to understand that a lot of this game is played by yourself. In terms of, you know, what actually works for you, which is an amazing thing, right? This is an amazing thing. This is like walking into a job that you really want. Let's say some of you guys wanted to work at, I don't know, give me a place you can work. Just give me somewhere you can work. Sure. Let's just say, or McDonald's. Okay, sure. Google, NASA, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Let's say you want to work at McDonald's. Okay, a lot of people are saying McDonald's, right? This is the equivalent of right here. This is the equivalent of walking into McDonald's and they sit you down and they go, okay, listen, tell me about yourself. And you say, okay, here's something about me. And then they go, okay, cool. So instead of telling you that we're gonna make you do this, we're just gonna show you that if you do this, this is what you have to do. If you choose to do this, this is what you have to do. If you want to be a CEO, you can do that too, but this is what you'll have to do. And very simply, the entire job just became I just choose anything I want and then I must execute. That's weird, right? You probably haven't experienced that a lot at any job that you've ever worked at because it's usually not the case. But in trading it is, right? So most of trading is building something that makes the most sense around you. It's basically building your dream house for yourself, but making sure that it's a good one, right? Because if it's a dream house, but it's made out of cotton candy, the first time it's gonna rain, you're kind of fucked, you know, because it's gonna be over. The very cool thing about trading specifically, and very different from a lot of other industries, is that you get to tailor something around you entirely. But if you're not aware of all the positives or disadvantages associated with something, and you make choices a little bit too quickly when you should be doing a lot more prior to doing something live or trading live, whatever it might be. You're the cotton candy house waiting to be hit by water, right? And cotton candy, if any of you scientists did not know this, because I know I have a very big scientific background, if cotton candy gets hit by water, it dissolves completely. It's just sugar, it just dissolves, okay? And that's oftentimes what can happen to a system if you're not aware of all the potential disadvantages associated with it, which is actually why a lot of people tend to blow up very, very early and lose their accounts and go through a lot of trauma, you can call it, on these lower time frames when they start out, right? And the most important thing before I move forward, and the reason that I believe it's so much harder, is this thing right here. So this right here is the number one reason that the lower you go, the harder it becomes. And it's because you don't have time to consider what you're doing or your emotions. Which means, very simply, if a lot of you really think about it or have seen my video, what does that mean about your system? What do you need to make sure about the system before you trade it profitably or before you start executing on it, if this is the number one staple of any lower time frame entry? Not even, so Roberto says a lot of data, and that's a step, right? But a lot of data, you need a lot of data for this as well. You need a ton of data for this as well, right? So you need a ton of data here too, right? Confidence, yeah, confidence is huge. Most importantly is, confidence, you're right, but most importantly is conviction, right? You need to not only have all the data, but you need basically, like Roberto said, is proven confidence. And conviction is the word. And you cannot bend it ever, right? Because the reality of a lower time frame, and I use an example that I personally traded in the EVC section of the members portal, which will be, the videos will be here by the end of today, likely, I think, by the end of today, or by tomorrow, we'll see, probably today. The example I use is one that I took from this week, right? So I traded this thing this week. Let me go like this. I took this thing this week. Okay, we'll go over the actual trade itself, but a very, very simple trade. Okay, I entered inside of the MBs inside of here, and another one inside of the MBs inside of here. These were some phenomenal trades. I took about 15, 16% on my account just off these two trades alone. Okay, absolutely wild. However, right, so you can look back at it and be like, wow, that's amazing. He made a lot of money. It's really good. Now, before I look into these trades, what I want to do very quickly is remember the setup just for a second. Just remember it in general, right? So in general, what I want you to view is big move higher, MA start moving higher, price goes sideways on the MAs, and I buy stopped through a lower time frame. This is on a 1 minute high. Okay, just remember this for a second. Now, what I want to do very quickly is I want to go to this on a daily, and I want you to tell me if there's any large difference between this setup and the setup you just saw. You have a big move, you have a sideways market, you look to enter off of a lower time frame entry through a buy stop, okay? Very good. It is same in concept. That's very important. Yes, it's same in concept. So what you'll notice about this, right, is that this is a market I was watching for a while. Like I probably had this on my list for about 3 months. Maybe you can go back in the webinars and see when has it been on my list. It's been on my list for a very long time. Now, what is true about this market? If my validation, so EVC, my entry is about 60 minute or 65 minute. Well, for me it's 65, but don't worry about that too much right now because I know people get really scared by the 5. Why not 60? It doesn't matter. You can do both. And the validation time frames for me is a daily. So if my validation time frame is a daily, and for the most part, every system before I ever step down is using the validation system to actually decide if it's worth taking or not, what does it mean about any particular asset in terms of what I have to do in checking it every single candle, whatever it might be? What does it just mean that I'm using a daily validation? Yeah, Alex said it like straight up. You have to check once a day. That's exactly it. I have to check this thing once a day and decide if it's worth watching. So for instance, if I'm looking at all the markets here that you see on my list right now, right? Here's the general process of me checking it for the entire potential day/week, okay? Can I do anything on this tomorrow? No. Okay, ignore. Can I do anything on this tomorrow? Maybe. It's been moving well. Okay, I'll maybe keep an eye on it tomorrow. Can I do anything on this tomorrow? Yeah, maybe, because it's doing. These are both Bitcoin-based related names. Then I'm going to just skip to coffee. Can I do anything on this tomorrow? Probably not. No, I need to wait probably at least 3 more days. Okay, it's off my list. No. No. Maybe. We'll keep an eye on it, but it's kind of weird. Okay. You know, I might flag it. No. 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 Maybe I'll keep an eye on it, but it probably needs a little bit of time. Probably needs a little time. No. No. Etc. Right? So within about, I don't know, how long was that? 15 seconds? 15, 20 seconds, you know, I've decided what markets I'm not taking a look at whatsoever, right? And this means that I can show up the next day with a clear conscience, a clear mind. Because, well, tomorrow I'm going to be a little bit different, whatever you want to call it. And the markets are going to be different, and they're going to be doing different things, and I can look at them and I can decide what I want to do. Now, there is no time to kind of do that when you're trading a lower time frame. Because the same way that I just did that, and now I can go back, do I want to trade this? No. Okay, what about this is good? What is the 65-minute telling me? Now, let's say I love the 65-minute. Let's say I love this and I want to take a trade. And let's say I say, this is a kind of a good entry. This might be a good entry, actually. Like through this buy stop right here, through this high, this might be a good buy stop. How much time do I have before this buy stop gets hit, even if this was on the day that it was happening? Let's say price was actually live. Yeah, I probably have about an hour, 30 minutes, 15 minutes, or more, 4 hours to set up the trade or to reanalyze. If I say, okay, I like this trade, does the daily actually make sense? Yeah, it looks good. Can I compare that to some relative strength? Let me check, you know. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely strength there. I don't like that this is coming down, but that's okay. You know, this looks pretty good. Let me see the context really quickly. Yeah, the context is just above the 10 and 20 going sideways. Looks really good for what I normally want to see. Daily, you know, started building overall stage 1, starting at stage 2, now it's in a stage 1. You know, this might need a little bit of time, but I think it's worth taking the risk, and now I can set it up. So I can do all of that. I can walk through my steps. I can walk through so many steps of deciding if it's worth for me to put on risk, right? And I can do that over and over and over again until I'm certain, or until I'm like, nah, you know what? I'm gonna skip it, right? I'm just gonna skip it. I don't think it's worth taking my risk on it. So I'm gonna go through those steps for myself. Now, when you're trading something like this, which I traded, by the way, guys, just so you understand, I traded this personally. This was an hour and 30 minutes. This entire setup happened within an hour and 30 minutes. I had to be there. I had to be there for each moment. And as this setup, as this range began to build, and I walked to my lower time frame, right? And then I saw this right here, to take a buy stop of this high, which I did, right here. How much time do I now have to check all the things that I just did? How much time do I have to say, do I want to take it? Is it worth taking? Is it not worth taking? I have less than 20 seconds, because the next candle, you're either in this trade or you've missed the move. That's it. So hopefully, as I just showed this mini like example, you start to understand that if you want to be a lower time frame trader, which I'm not against, I am not against it. I did it personally. I still trade lower time frame trades here and there if they make sense. You have 0 time to actually consider emotions. The rules need to be there. The rules need to be so clear that you have no bit of, should I take it? Maybe I shouldn't. Do I want to set? No, it's the move is happening. The move is extremely clear. The move for me was clear, by the way, when I was watching this thing. I think around here, I was watching for a setup. So around here, I was saying, okay, this is moving in a way that it should be moving. I don't know when it's going to set up, but in general, the stage 1, it looks like it's around this area. So if we can get above like somewhere in here, I'll want to trade it. And then I waited. I went to a 1 minute and I looked at it at this time and I said, okay, do we have the buildup of what I look for here? I'm going to put on my EMAs, because on my entry time frame, I use EMAs. And this will also be covered why in the members portal in the course. But I was looking at this and I was saying, okay, we have potentially a mini anticipation of a higher low rule here. And we started building MBs, but nothing too clear just yet. We might want to take out this low. I don't know yet, right? We're taking out this, potentially take out this low for anticipation of the higher low. But I don't see any MB that I can buy stop yet. So I actually waited. And then a few more minutes passed. So I actually went back to the 5 and I waited. Because again, I'm looking for a setup, but I don't know if it's gonna set up. I don't know if this thing is gonna become something worthwhile. And at the same time, you know, I know that this in general will sometimes create a few more candles to go sideways, and then I can look for an entry. So I waited. 5 more minutes passed. The move potentially started. That's okay, I don't care. If I miss it, I miss it. But at this point, again, it's still building that stage 1. And if anything, this high can be its own stage 1. So I looked at the minute again. Again, this is all happening live, and what do I see? I see an MB get built, and now I'm thinking to myself, okay, there was an MB, and there was this MB. I missed the entry on this MB, but also, I didn't want to take the entry on this MB. Can anybody guess why I did not want to take the entry on this MB right here? So I'll get rid of this one, and I'll get rid of this one. Oh, whoops, there we go. Why did I not want to take this MB right here? See, so this is where it's interesting, right? A lot of people, too low is correct and too early is correct. It's not because of the MAs. I mean, partly it could be, but it's because of where, think about my line that I drew. Think about where we are on that higher time frame. Think. I have a particular stage 1 area where I at minimum want to see price kind of reach to. Otherwise, I'm entering where? I'm entering within the chop. I'm entering here, hoping that the move does this, instead of allowing myself to enter here, or close to this area, where the likelihood of a stage 2 is now higher, right? So this is where someone will be like, but it's a double MB, and it is. It is a double MB, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't fit the criteria for my stage 1, right? So I waited. So at this moment, everything is still pointing me to wait. So I wait. Right? And now all my eyes go to is, okay, we formed some MB here, right? Within that MB, we have the validated demands, validated MBs inside of it, but I can't trade it. Maybe a third one will happen, and it will happen around here. We'll see. And all of a sudden, this happens. Okay? Now, this is not perfect. This right here, I know on a 5-minute looks clear, right? This starts to put in a stage 1 that's, in my opinion, based on the way that I kind of think, is getting tight. This is what tightness, in a sense, looks like. And again, this will be further covered in the portal with more examples. But for me, this is what, when I say tightness, this is what I kind of mean. This is what the kind of tightness I want to see. I want to see a working with, like there's a symmetry between the E and the V in this case, right? Because that's literally how markets work. I did a little balance. Where is it? I drew a balance at some point. I lost it. Oh yeah, here it is, right? So you guys have probably seen the balance weights on each side, whatever it's called, the scale, right? A scale. Yeah, so like it's one of these, right? One of these little guys right here. That's the way I'm thinking about like my concepts across a few timeframes, or especially in the sense of EVC, where there's not just the entry and there's not just the pattern, right? It's an interaction between them. It's an interaction between, does it make sense to come out of the stage 1 and to start this given move for a potential stage 2? Does it actually make sense to do that? Okay, so at this point, right, I'm still looking at it, I'm going, okay, this looks really, really good. It looks really, really good, and it's building this MB right here. So I actually had a buy stop set up. Well, actually, I market ordered it, but this is where I was looking for a long right through the high, and I kept an eye on it because I already know I'm executing if this is going to continue with this setup. That's it. I already know this is being executed. And I market executed through this move. And I think I got filled a little bit higher. I think I got filled like somewhere here because, again, there's liquidity. Again, there's going to be liquidity-based issues, slippage and commission-based issues, the lower your timeframes are, right? Especially if the stock is, or the market is not super, super liquid. But again, this was looking like a great move. So I took it. And then from there, you know, it erupted. It literally erupted in disgusting ways, right? Now, again, most of my trades don't do this. And I want to actually bring your attention to something, because like these were 2 trades that I took this week that were insane. But at the same time, I took a trade on, let me show you guys this right now because I really want you to understand this. I took a trade on this as well right here. Where was it? Yeah. Wow, I missed whatever this was. But I took a trade on this thing, right? And I just took a small loss. Like, very easy, right? It started making its move. I started watching it. I literally, you can see, like, where I was looking at this as the stage. So stage 1, sorry, stage 2 into a stage 1. And again, you can see the same thing. And I was looking for the move higher, right? Exact same thing. I just took a minus 0.5, nothing more. I want to show you another one. You still see Mira? What, like, is my thing lagging? Oh, okay, cool. And then here's another one, right? Here's another trade I took. Stage 2, went into a stage 1. Maybe I should have waited on this, you know, like looking back, hindsight 2020, whatever. Maybe there was a little bit more waiting time on this. Maybe I should have actually waited just a tiny bit, and maybe I was a little bit quick to jump the gun. Actually, looking at it now, I probably was a little bit too quick. But this actually makes a perfect point, which is, can anybody guess? I don't have the time, if I'm a lower time from trader, and because I have to be fast, I don't have the time to sit there and say, is it maybe that good? Is it not? I have to rely on the conviction that I've built and on the experience that I now have to trade these, right? Especially on a lower time frame, because there's no time to think. There's no time to walk yourself through if this setup makes sense. There's no time to pull up your other trades and be like, okay, does this trade look like my previous winning trades? Let me go check. It kind of does. And then you miss it, and then it goes without you, right? Because that can happen. So you need to become very, very aware, and you have to do it very quickly, that if you want to be a lower time from trader, you need to become so good at doing it that the experience speaks for itself, right? That there is no time to argue with yourself. So the reality, in my opinion, is that this is a significantly harder thing to do. I think the lower you go, the harder trading becomes in terms of the time you have to spend in actually getting it down, because it's going to take a lot from you, right? Meant, why don't your sheets update it anymore? I just haven't gotten in there in a while to update the actual sheet. I can update it maybe today. I'll see. Yeah, I haven't updated my personal sheet. You know, I kind of stopped after around 197%. Yeah, I stopped just because, but you know, I can update this. It's at all-time highs again. All right. Can you go back on Mira 5 minute for a second? You mean that 1 minute and 5 minute were in sync? Yeah, they were in sync. There it is. So Zesh, I'll update the sheet again. Again, like the point of the sheet is to give you an actual sheet that you can use, right? I updated it a little bit over time, over a few months, to just show you what it looks like, right? I was just sticking my trades in there, but you know, I have my own major catalog where I actually keep all my stuff. But I can update that mini sheet for you guys, of course, like if you guys want that, but I don't think it's necessary because a lot of it's already in there, right? A lot of just data is in there. But yeah, this is kind of the main thing I want to start with today, and something that you will cover in the portal. And that is just that the lower you go, the more work you're actually going to have to do in building conviction and confidence in your trading rules and whatnot. Does everyone understand kind of why? Does everyone understand, just looking at this, what that actually, why that is the case? That's my number one, because that's what I wanted to do with starting this, because there are a lot of people, especially new people, that are really dead set on lower time frames, and that's good. That's a great thing. I'm happy for you. You're gonna make money if you take the time to learn it. But you need to be aware of the differences and the things that you have to work through now to actually do this, right? Alex says he's already facing this, and it's true. I see people face this every single day, right? There are people that want to trade the 1 minutes but can't handle like 2 losses. And then they'll send out trades on the 1 minute going, is this a trade I should be taking? Is it a trade? It's like, dude, you're on a lower time frame. You need to have this worked out. You shouldn't even be in like the live market if you don't have kind of 96% confidence in everything you take. Huzaifa says, will it get better with time? I mean, come on, dude. You can answer that yourself. Jordan says, for these trades you're showing, do you put a buy stop at the high? No. So for these ones, because again, you have to be fast, you have to not be emotional, you don't have time to think about emotions. These are all executed by market. So I see the move, I see the setup, I'm watching it, I'm looking at this as well as some other pairs, because there's a few things that are showing up on the day. And I'm watching it, I'm saying, okay, the liquidity is there, it looks good. I'm looking at the 1 minute and I'm saying, okay, this thing actually looks really, really good. This thing is fitting like what it should be doing, and if it gets through this high, I'll buy stop it. So as this thing reaches up through this, I'm basically buy stopping, but I market execute around here. So I market execute a little bit higher and then got filled a little bit higher as well, which is okay. And then I moved my stop up just a tiny bit. So yeah, that's literally what's happening, right? I'm just market executing it because again, the time is very different now. There's not like, let me just set this up, let me keep an eye on it, like let me make it super simple. Because then even if my 65-minute base trades like activate, let's say you're like trading Solana, Sol USD, because this looked pretty good. Yeah, so let's say you want to trade this, right? You'd set your alert, you can walk away. If this thing goes off on an alert, then you can execute it and you have time to execute, you have hours to execute. You can even set up a buy stop right now and wait and wait and wait. Now, because someone was watching this, you know, this looks pretty good. I think it needs a little bit of time. I think the better trades, if you did trade this, were down inside of these areas here somewhere, probably up, right? Like, and we're just a tiny bit late if someone's trying to trade this, because again, I'm not trading this, but yeah, like this is already too late in my opinion. I think this needs time. Like, I think it might come down a little bit more and then start building something. But nonetheless, right, you have a lot more time to think through your thoughts and then actually take them. Where was the surf on the 1-day Solana? I still think it needs time. I think it's still building it. But if you were to take one, then you had a mini entry like here. It came out of this large stage 1. This is off of a weekly stage 1 likely. Starting to, now it's on the weekly above the 10, which is usually a very nice stage 2. You had this very initial move inside of here, which is very hard to trade, so I probably would have skipped that. And then you have this first time that price has come down to the rising 10, it's built mini higher lows, surfing higher, and then it put in this tiny tight range. Now this is harder to trade, so I didn't trade it. I also wouldn't have traded it, probably, unless, you know, this was showing a lot of relative strength. So if you trade it, I'm not even against it at all, but I'm waiting for a longer buildup, just like last week. I'll wait for a little bit of a longer buildup, and then this should become very nice for a move. Very simple. All right, let me scroll up a little bit and read through some of the stuff. But yes, this is the number one thing I wanted to touch on today because it's something that has just been added or is about to be added to the members portal. And I think it will just be very helpful, especially when you get to kind of see it side by side, because this is an actual trade I took this week, right? This is an actual trade I took this week. This is where it happened, right? And let's go to the, yeah, came out of this thing, just started moving higher, and I had an eye on it. And first time it started surfing, went sideways, and off we go. Then it happened twice. This one was a little bit harder up here. You know, preferably it went sideways a little bit more, but due to this gain and due to the fact that this was, you know, proving to be a good market, a strong market, I took another one here. And if anything, you know, there was an easier trade right here, like much easier trade. Like started just moving stage 1 and then boom. Had a mini move into the end of the week, end of the day. But yeah, I had a big gainer on this, so I was willing to take the next surf, which happened right here. Went sideways for the stage 1, so again, stage 2, stage 1, and you can see the entry is basically through the stage 1 and went to take that higher. And again, you have milliseconds, well, not milliseconds, you have seconds to think, decide, and then take the entry. Right, with proper risk and everything else associated with it. That's part of the lower time frame game. So if you're trading a 1 minute and you're doing that, like you need to be there, you need to be active, you need to be watching it, right? Because by the time it's time to go, you need to be fully worked out as to how you're going to trade that thing. Evaldus, what's up, my good man? Happy to see a lot of familiar names. What's up, guys? 3 days more and 1 year in here. Happy to be a part of it. I appreciate it, Alex. That's awesome, dude. Burke says, can you show the light gray color you use for trend lines? It looks really clean. I used a red. I use a red and a gray. The gray is usually for larger stage 1s or maybe like context time from stage 1s. But yeah, this is just this gray right here. And this red is... Because again, I don't like the lines to be is just this pink red right there. Because again, the lines are just a general view of that same stage one, right? All it's doing is it's showing me the best area within which the stage one is likely to end, and I can look for an entry around that point, right? That's all it's doing. Matt says, I'm a few videos behind. I didn't watch any last week. Tried this AM, but fell back asleep. Lazy morning. All good, man. Sundays are to be lazy, right? The entry time from approach is insane. Well, I mean, it's nothing new from everything we've ever done, right? Like, if you really want to boil down the entry time frame to an entry, it's this. It's the double MB. It always has been, right? I'm just giving you further refinement and further rules around understanding what makes a good move, and understanding that just because you have that mini double MB there, that doesn't mean that it's a good entry, right? And this has always been the case, but I'm now able to provide it with a lot more clarity than I was before. Sport Mode says, what's the best one question to ask once you first open a chart? I'm thinking, are we trending or ranging? Trending equals 2 MBs or more, ranging equals MBs back and forth. No, my first question on any market that I open is, what is my validation time frame doing? Because the validation time frame sets the precedent for a new stage 2. So if the validation time frame is clear, is moving well, like again, I go to my daily, which is my validation time frame at the moment, right? Or a 5 minute if I'm trading a lower time frame, and I'll go to something and I'll say, okay, right? What is it doing? Well, right, it's clearly accumulating a stage 1 here. It started a beautiful move higher, and right now it needs time. I don't see a clear range within which we're building a stage 1. So clearly we did make a stage 2, and clearly we're in some kind of stage 1, but nothing's been built yet. Nothing is moving clearly yet. Everything is kind of disjointed, and that's it. There's no more work to do. Because at this point, I don't care if the context time frame is clean, even though it is. It doesn't matter to me. I don't care that the entry time frame might be making a double MB, because none of it matters. Everything comes down to the validation, validating the C and the E, right? This is why the scales are an E and V and a V and C being balanced, because everything forms at the V. The V holds the E and the C in place, okay? So if I look at this on a daily, which is my validation, I look at it and I say, there's nothing happening, there's no reason for me to go a step further. That's it. I know it's an accumulation. It's a beautiful accumulation. It's still, you know, moving with the averages, moving higher with the averages, stopping at the averages, has averages below. It clearly wants to go higher, but right now it doesn't. That's it. There's no more work for me to do outside of that. I've done the work. Now I have to wait, right? Maybe if it comes up, starts making a move down, then you're gonna get something along these lines. And then I can expect this, but this will probably be a week. It's probably a week out. So I know I don't even have to look at this, right? But my first step is always validation time frame. So if I'm trading a 1 minute time frame, I'm looking through 5 or 6 minute charts. So I'll maybe look at this and I'll say, okay, right? What was it doing? Like on this day, on the days that this was happening, you might have actually ended up trading somewhere in here. And if you traded that, that'd be good, right? Then right now it's back to chop. So if I was trading a 1 minute entry, there's nothing to look at on gold right now, right? What I would wait for likely is, well, this is actually building something nice, started to move out of here, is basically see some strength, get that strength to move sideways, look to take that higher, right? Look for that stage 2, look for that stage 1 that builds up something very clearly on rising averages, which it's not doing right now, and I'd look to take that higher. Right now, that's not happening, so the validation time frame is the first question always. It's, what is my validation time frame telling me? And then if it's telling you something worthwhile, if it's telling you something is potentially worth watching, right? If it's telling you something is worth watching, then you can step down, you can ask yourself the follow-up question, right? What is my context time frame doing? Is it in an area that makes sense? Yeah, I mean, so at this point, it's right around here. It just started going sideways, just above a 1020. So I think context looks fine here, especially coming out of whatever this was. If anything, you could even argue that you might want context to be a little bit like higher later, which is fine. You could have just skipped the trade for that. But context is a little bit further disconnected from the entry, of course. So you have the momentum. I'd probably skip just because of the context, honestly. Like, I'd at least want to see this on maybe the 10 or coming down a little bit more. you know, maybe a little bit more of a pause, but these are okay. These can happen. These mini pauses, and that's fine because the validation started with everything. And the validation looks pretty clear. It actually looks really good. So I drop down to my 1 minute and I'd look at it and I'd say, okay, is the entry time frame proving what the validation time frame was showing me, right? You have the anticipation of the higher low rules met. You have it met actually multiple times. And then right now, you've built multiple MBs. You're building validated demand within validated demand. And at the moment, I don't see a demand that I can buy stop except for this one right here. So what I would do is I'd simply buy stop the existing demand that's unvalidated still at this point. This would be an entry that I'd be willing to take. Throw the stop on to look at the ATR of the, I think this is the ATR of the day. It is, so I'd look at the ATR of the 5 minute, which is 2.1. So this is under 2.1, so it looks good. So this is a setup that I'd be happy to take. So again, you have to do all that in that moment if you were trading this, right? Again, if you're on a 1 minute, this all has to happen very quick. You have to be ready for it. Then this happens, so you set up your trade here. Very easy, because now you have an actual MB worth buying. Again, validated MBs, validated MBs over and over and over again. Surfing, moving the way they should, and getting ready for an actual move higher. 2.108, 1.1 looks good. So risk reward is in your favor. Move to break even, and then partial into strength if you can. Strength 1, 2, 3, as you see fit. What was that, 1.8? Yeah, probably nothing yet. What was that, like 2.7? Yeah, I'd probably take a mini partial here for what, 1.3? Let the rest run with the 10 or the 20 and close the rest. Right, so again, it wouldn't be a crazy trade because not every trade you take is gonna be a runner, but you have no idea if this is gonna do something like this, because it can. And then you get another partial or you get to close and then, you know, you just made whatever, 4, 6R, 7R on your money. That's how it works. Right, so the starting point is always validation. I'm always asking myself, you know, is the validation time frame in a good enough move at the moment or not? And that was on what? That was on Friday, yeah. And then during the week, you had nothing, right? It was just all ugly action. So you'd be showing up every day to do nothing until a nice move came into it. And now you do the same thing. You'd wait for another stage 1. When the validation is clear, we already know the context time frame is clear. We look at the entry, and if we can start to see the same things that we just saw, well, we know what this market wants to do next, likely, right? Which is probably reach the 23.97 or higher, and that's what we're gonna try to get into and take that higher, right? So that's always the best first question. It's always, you know, what is my validation time frame telling me? It comes down to the stages. It comes down to the exact same things we do over and over again. Hey man, the past 3 to 4 months was good. First time in my trading journey, but now I have only one fear, is that what will happen with me will happen again and again in the future journey. What do you mean by that, my good man? Hello team, just a little bit late and missed the first 15-minute quick recap. Start showing up in time. That is the recap. Emotions need to be on point. Yep, very good. Yeah, I remember we were talking about conviction. Exactly, yeah. So for a lower time frame, you need conviction worked out. You need to have it there or you will lose. You just will. Because you need to be able to make these decisions in a split second. There is no, but is it good? Is it not good? Let me think about it. Let me just see what price does or something, right? Because by the time you see what price does, price is up here. And you've missed that move. That was your opportunity. And then what happens is you go, I'm gonna miss it. So you start taking trades in here. And then all of a sudden you actually take the losses. And you're like, I always get it wrong. What the fuck? You know, but like you don't. And then you look at it, you look back at it in hindsight and you go, oh, it was really late. Why was I trading it there? Well, because you started forcing things after you missed the thing that you should have traded because your system's not worked out yet. You don't have time to consider your emotions, but you think you can live trade. And now you're losing money live trading, right? The risk of missing winning trades and catching more losses is way too high on lower time frame. I mean, that can happen. Yeah, of course. Karar says, I feel like no time to consider your emotions for a lower time frame is actually an advantage because you have to follow your rules without fail or else you fuck yourself. Yep. But again, if you can't follow your rules on a higher time frame, you're not going to make money. So if you don't have it fully worked out for a lower time frame, you're definitely going to lose all your money and a lot quicker. So again, it's a disadvantage. That is why it's a disadvantage. Yes, technically every disadvantage can be an advantage because if you're actually a trader, you know how to make it work for you. But that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about specifically someone wanting to learn, someone wanting to make money, someone wanting to get this skill down, thinking that because they're on a lower time frame, they're going to make more money. It's complete nonsense. And thinking that it can be faster. It's complete nonsense. USD CAD is looking beautiful on a 30-minute. Maybe it is. At least an hour looks like a really good accumulation. Schelling said you also have enough time to change your mind if there's a reason to. Yep, you do. You have time to double, triple check. Yep, you do have time to double, triple check stuff. And you don't have that time on a lower time from entry. Right, like, and you can get even crazier, but if you're trading like a 5-second entry, right? If you're someone that wants to trade a 5-second entry, that's what? 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30. You're using 30 seconds as your validation, right? So for instance, you know, like there's a good trade probably in here. That's just a hard one. I don't really see it. But there's probably a good trade in here, right? I'll make it red. There's probably a good trade somewhere in here. Maybe it's actually 2. Then there's also a good trade in here. And that's really it. So this was on Friday. And then maybe there's something back here. I don't see anything. So these were like 2 good areas to trade if you're a lower time from trader on gold, right? But again, as this is happening, you have to be so aware of your system that you have to be ready to execute it, right? You'll probably be taking, wait, let me put on my EMAs. So you'd probably be taking like, I'd probably take this trade, right? So you'd be taking this, and you would take an instant loss. And at that point, you need to be actually you take a slippage loss as well. You need to be fully okay with that, and you need to execute the next one that happens without letting anything affect you. And then this one would have been a phenomenal trade. So again, same exact thing, beautiful MB buildup through this high or this high. And then this one ends up being a huge winner. But if your shit's not worked out, you're not going to be fast enough to take these, and you might even take these super late and then take huge losses on them and then not even look at the next trade because maybe you get this one at a terrible price and you're like, what do I do? And then it takes you out and you're like, fuck, I don't want to know it. And then you start losing your money and you blow up your account, whatever it might be. And or maybe you don't manage this trade well enough because you get in, let's say you get into this one late and you get in here instead of here. Now you're like, okay, I need more money. And then it starts going, you're like, okay, just a little bit more because I'm not you. And then boom, it collapses, right? So yeah, the lower you go, right, a 5-second entry, like your setups are happening within the span of, so this setup went from being a non-existent market to being a perfect setup in 7 minutes. If you walked away to make a coffee, to go to the toilet, that market's missed. This went from being in a clear stage 2 that was impossible to trade, that could have just kept going, to becoming a valid and good setup in 6 minutes and 30 seconds from that point. This means as a lower time from trader, you need to be there. You need to be active at all points of the day, at every single point if you want to get a trade. Because you need to be aware that it can go from a shit market condition all day, because this is all still Friday. This is all Friday. Friday, all bad. Potentially good, but all bad. Good. 2 hours. So you'd have to sit there watching a movie or a TV show or something with this open, with your eye on it. It's ready. 2 hours and 30 minutes later, it's ready. And then 6 minutes later, it loses. And then 6 minutes later, it makes a phenomenal trade. And if you're not there to take it, then you experience the issue that I see over and over and over again. Oh, Ment, I don't know. Like, what am I supposed to do? I always miss the trade during the day. Like, it always happens at some point, but I'm not. Well, dude, you're on a lower time frame. You need to figure out your priorities in your schedule. You need to be there all day if you want to trade the lower time frame, right? Like, you need to have that. You have to have that realization at some point, and then you have to follow it. Or you can do other things. After what account size should we scale to higher time frames? Is a 1 minute entry time frame with 100K with 1% risk doable? So for me, it wasn't. Well, actually it was, because I was doing a 1 second. It's up to you. You'll know when it's time. Very simply, I was at a point where I was paying way too much in commissions, where it started to eat away from the profits in too big of a way. It didn't make sense to do what I was doing, and I couldn't risk more. So I instead built a system that made more sense to me. And also my time is more important to me now. So I went from spending 8 hours, 12 hours a day on just charts, now doing 8 to 12 hours working with you guys and on charts, right? And that's a better usage of my time and family, right? So instead of doing 12 hours of, or 8 to 12 hours of charts a day, now it's 3 hours of charts, 6 to 7 hours, 3 to 4 hours, whatever it might be, with members, with creating stuff, 2 to 3 hours of creating stuff, and then hopefully on some days, 2 to 4 hours with family, right? So there's a breakup more of my time because I found a way to use my time more efficiently rather than sitting there. I don't want to sit there anymore all day. Let me show you where Friday began, just so you really understand this. Because this is what people really don't understand. So Friday begins here. If I'm really a trader that just gets on, I do nothing, 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 nothing. Maybe a move starts, so I'm watching it, but nothing happens. Then it loses itself, starts building accumulation, nothing happens, builds accumulation, starts going. I wait, I watch. This is the first time I probably would have traded, right here. This is the first area I might have traded through a stage 1 into stage 2 into a stage 1, and I would have traded here. So that's at 5 hours into the session, I would have gotten my first trade. Let's mark them. Black and fat. Okay, that's the first time I would have traded from the start of the day, which was back here. Okay, so I would have spent about 4 hours and 30 minutes watching the market doing nothing until this trade. Would have made a mini profit, comes down, keeps going into accumulation. Beautiful, beautiful stage 2. Watch for stage 1. Yep, starts looking really good. Yeah, so like again, I would start watching probably around here-ish through that high for a trade. That would have been a loss on the day or a break even. I don't know, probably a loss. Back to the drawing board, right? So I'd be in for a win or a small win. Yeah, probably a win, a very nice win actually. A loss, we wait, right? Accumulation but not clear. Waiting would be doing nothing. Here I'd start watching again. Actually, it's very choppy. This is a hard one. I'd probably skip this one. So even though it looks clear, I'd skip it because of the chop, right? So even though this might be okay, I'd skip it for the chop and I'd have to sit again and wait. So I'd wait, I'd wait, I'd wait, I'd wait, I'd wait. It's still choppy. I would skip it. Ends up making a nice move, but I'd skip it. That's okay. I'd wait, I'd wait, I'd wait, I'd wait, I'd wait. No accumulation. Starts making a nice move, so I'd keep an eye on it now. So I'd start watching it more closely. Maybe I'm watching a podcast and watching this at the same time. I'd wait. Very, very nice. Finds accumulation. Starts taking off. Again, start watching it for a potential trade. Nope, nothing. No momentum gets caught. Crazy moves. Get to ignore it. Not much to do. Not much to do. Not much to do. Yeah. I'd sit, and I'd wait, and I'd wait. And then you'd get this somewhat nice move. Comes with a nice move out of there. Starts going sideways. I'd probably wait for a little bit here, but I'm eyeing this for a trade. Like, I'd be looking at the entry time frame maybe around here-ish. Maybe a few more candles. Yep, beautiful. Probably entry time frame. I don't know if it would have gave me an entry, but I'm assuming it might. Either way, that's a trade, probably a break even or a small profit. And back to waiting. Okay, let's mark that actually. There we go. Wait, wait, wait. Starts a crazy nice move. This is a phenomenal, phenomenal trade right here. Yep, this might have been the win of the day. This is probably the win of the day. Get stopped out of the trade around here. Probably nice partials through here or here. Would have skipped this. Goes back into accumulation. Oh, let's mark that. Okay. And then we have the end of the day where maybe you get this trade as well, and this one. Okay. So, you know, on the day, in reality, right, if I wanted to catch these trades, you know, they're not all happening in one spot. If I want to catch them, I need to be there. And this would be about a 16-hour workday based on how I caught them or how I'd want to manage them. Or if I didn't take these, then maybe if I just traded this hours, it'd be 6-hour workday. Or in here through a 10-hour workday. But again, as I'm doing this, right, I started noticing that 1, I'm paying way too much in commissions and slippage. 2, I'm waiting around way too long. 3, I can only focus on a few markets because if I miss something, I miss it for good. 4, I can't get up. I can't do anything else. I need to be here or I'm missing those trades if they happen. So you saw me make the changes I needed to make. And it's much easier for me to make those changes now, right? So that's all that happens. How long do you typically spend on charts per day if you use a 15-minute entry time frame? I don't know. Test it. Under MA, not clear. Under 50. Oh, yeah, we went over that. It has to be on the exit of the stage 1. Yep, for me, exactly. Which is, you know, why I completely ignored the lower entries inside of there, even though they might have been valid. Because I wanted to wait for a very likely point where maybe I stop out and take one more trade, or I take the trade and I know very quickly if I'm right or if I'm wrong, right? Exactly. What about the price action put you off taking the double MB entry right before the one you actually took? Okay, you answered it too low and in the chop. There you go. On which leg of the stage 1 do you consider the rule of the high or low expectation? There's no black and white pattern to it. It just happens as a move. It's a snowflake. It will happen as some kind of move within the setup that's happening. Maybe it'll happen here, maybe it'll happen later, maybe it'll happen up here just before the move. There's no it must happen in the first leg of the first 50% Fibonacci pullback and then the move is good. It's nonsense. It's just a thing that occurs for any move. For everything that I've tested, for any move that's going to move, it just occurs. That's it. Where do you trade crypto? I trade some ETFs of it in the US stock market, but you can also trade it with an exchange. But also, now don't tell anyone, guys. But I think for Men Funding, we're trying to get a crypto like exchange firm prop kind of thing going, so you can also trade it there maybe after September, but don't quote me on that. And also, you know, but that's one place where you also be able to do it. But yeah, I mean, just look up some regulated brokers and trade with those if you want to, or exchanges. How'd you take a minus 0.5 instead of a -1 on serve? I just closed it early, I believe. Let me check. Yeah, so when I took this thing, it was just terrible. It was not moving the way it should move. That's really all that came down to it. So if I go to the 1 minute here, and I throw on my EMAs, you know, I grabbed it through this MB long. So we had like 1, 2, and then I grabbed it through that MB long, and then this started the move, and I was already thinking about breaking even around here, but I gave it a chance. And then as it came back down, you know, usually you'll see the MAs pop back up. So what happened is it started popping back up. So at this point, I'm thinking, you know, there's no reason to come to this low, because at this point, like, this MB is validating, like, it should just go. It should start validating MBs and go. So I just moved my stop from here to here. That's it. And then as price took this out, I was like, okay, I don't care. I don't care if it goes higher now. I'm just going to get out of this thing. So I took about a minus 0.5 instead of a -1. That's it. Again, it's just based on the move. The move should be going. If it doesn't go, then, you know, it'll make a setup later, right? Because if you think about it this way, I'm getting out here. And as I'm getting out, if this move wants to become cleaner, what's going to happen? This MB is going to become important. And then it's going to make an MB. It's going to make an MB, and I can trade it later, right? And I'm going to trade at the same price, but now I'm paying less because I took a smaller loss. So it's like this understanding where if the move is setting up in a way that can get you back in, why aren't you allowing the potential like break even or loss to come? I mean, why are you letting the loss to come when you can break even or take a smaller loss so you can take the trade if it does want to work out later, right? Because there's no point for me to be in this at that point, because it's proving that it's not doing it, right? Like, it's proving to me that this is not the MB. This is not the demand validation that's going to work, right? Because this demand validation is being validated, and really, like, at some point, it should be the close. The close could have been right there. That could have been that close, right? But at that point, it needs to go. This is the members portal. Like, why aren't we going? So I got out. That's it. Very easy. And again, much harder for someone to do in the live moment. As you're watching this and you're in drawdown and then you're in profit, the number is green. Oh my God, I can't. Fuck. You know, I don't care for that. I'm just going to make the decision as I need to make it. I'm going to make it instantly because I know what I'm looking for. And if it's not happening, I'm not going to be there hoping for the outcome. I'm just going to wait till the next one, right? Because it's a lot easier for me to do that. In the Mira 1 minute trade, do you wait for the load to come in to put the SL and calculate position size from there, or do you anticipate / use ATR to estimate SL and calculate? I know my position size beforehand. Yep. And I know how to calculate it quickly. That's it. And with the broker I use, I can enter with a % of my account size, so I can use the actual stop to understand what I would want to use, because I know my stop's going to be around there. I know it's going to be around the ATR value, and then I just put it on. Hi, man. Great to be here. What's up, Baskarin? I hope you're well, man. I need some advice regarding choppiness in market. Sure. Like, when do we expect choppiness? When the market is in a stage 1 on a validation time frame, you can expect choppiness. On a lower time frame, is it after the price extended way up / down from the MAs, and in order to catch up the average price, we can accept choppiness for some time? Sure. Just don't trade the moments where you shouldn't be trading anyway, right? And then you'll be able to stay out of chop. Is there any other criteria that conclude choppiness is most probable for the next some time? Yeah, when the setups are not clear. Or when the setups that are clear start to fail. Right? Gold is a great example recently. When we didn't get the move that we wanted to see out of this thing from right here. Because I remember I was trying to trade this thing right here, I think. When this started failing, I expected chop for a while. And there was chop for a while. And then it's made a good move again, and it started to move, and that was great. And now it's not in a setup. So if it's not in a setup, then I expect chop. So whether this goes up or down or sideways, I don't care. Because it either now builds a setup over some time, or it's going to be choppy. And the reality is I don't trade anything and everything, right? A lot of traders like to trade all the action because they think it makes them profitable, but then they get caught in shit, right? Instead, I just wait till the clear setup because I know what a clear setup looks like. Everything else I assume is choppiness. Schelling says I trade lower timeframes interdimensionally. This is Schelling's right now, dude. Like, what the fuck? Interdimensionally, and have to sort of anticipate a CS entry on my EVVC. You are right, there is way more work lower. Oh yeah, for sure. For sure. Yeah, Cameron's got a beautiful system on his hands. An insane win rate. Like, this is disgusting. With this win rate, like, this is, I mean, with this average win is so crazy. Like, when I look at this, all I'm seeing is this can be 20% and he'll be unbelievably profitable. Really think about that. That means he could lose, what is that? What's the number there? If he wins 1 of 2 trades, he could win 1 in 5 trades. He could lose almost double the amount of trades he's currently losing and be extremely profitable. That's insane. That is crazy. Jordan says, for these trades you're showing, do you like to put a... Oh, we went over that, sorry. We'll get better with time. Kaltman says, it's just that conviction you were talking about. For me, it was just undeniable amounts of data collection that I just know if I execute, then it'll make it part of my edge. Yep. Schelling says, I went lower thinking I'd make more money, but nope, my risk ended up going much lower, and in the end, it's all the same as higher time traders. Yep. Is it possible to trade next to school? Next to school? What does that mean? While you're in school? Of course. You can trade, you can learn the skill, you can become better at the skill doing anything in the world, close to anything. Unless you literally have like the excuse of, I'm deployed in the military in the active war zone without access to Wi-Fi and have to fear for my life every waking hour of the day, so I cannot focus on the course, you're excused. You know, but other than that, like, the reality is, if you're not in that situation, and whatever your responsibilities are, and if you're serious about doing something, you can find some form of time to do it, right? Like, don't bullshit yourself. We all find a way to bullshit ourselves. Just be honest with yourself. If you have the time or you can find the time, and you know that you have the time, then find a way to make it work for you, okay? Lower time frame. Rollover is also a big thing. Yep. Rollover, gaps, whatever you want to call it. Baron says, hey Anton, I just joined the ship again this month. Good. So far I've worked through sections 1 through 3. I've also worked through wiring and the mind, then continued with the webinars. Now I'm in the middle of a new course at 63% since you published it. Should I change my approach or continue working like this? What approach is there to change? It's all the same thing, right? Webinar with course when finish 141, jump to the course, do the course and the webinar at the same time. Yeah, always show up to webinars. That's number one. Broker.ymz says, if your order is equal to a market order, how do you ensure that your stop loss is 0.5% of your capital if your SL is already preset? It's general. My capital risk is not always 0.5%. Sometimes it's 0.6, sometimes 0.3, sometimes 0.7. Again, it's just, there's a general calculation. Because again, if you're on a lower time frame, you have to be quick. Yeah, maybe. I mean, yeah. I mean, maybe, sure. Inge USD can probably move. Yeah, I mean, I would not be surprised if a lot of cryptos are moving right now or making really good setups. Well, Sol USD. I mean, yeah, all of these are very, very strong. Very strong. You know, this right now is a time to be watching a lot of cryptos, just based on what I'm seeing. Cryptos or crypto-based stocks, you know, a lot of these things are showing insane strength to everything that's happening right now. They're showing nice accumulation, nice moves out of those accumulations, nice stage 2s and nice stage 1s. Yep, these are definitely ones to watch. Well, actually, given all the cryptos that are doing stuff, Inge USD, whoever said that, Chris, is one of the worst. This is terrible. It's weaker than everything. It's like in distribution. I mean, it had this nice move, but it's weak. The last few 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, the last 7 days, this has gone down, made a little bit of up move, and it's like it's beaten down. And then the main cryptos are barely going lower. They're, if anything, they're sailing higher. So no. Yes, cryptos are really good. No, this one is terrible. Like, of all the cryptos out there, that was like the worst one you could have said. Maybe there's worse, but so far that's the worst one I've seen. Wanted your thoughts on lower time frame indices and gold for the past week. Probably trades on lower time frame, and that's it. Right? I don't know what your lowers are, but if you're trading a 1.660, then you either traded this thing bearish this week, right, when it became bearish, or you waited. When was Monday? Monday was around here. I think I made a video on it. There was a trade here, then it got ugly. It was terrible all week. Then it broke down, right? And after breaking down, it became bearish and went into distribution, and it gave you a setup on the distribution side. It gave you a beautiful setup, and this one actually went on to make you a lot of money based on how you managed it or how you played it. Made another setup actually through that same thing. Kept going lower, got shitty and ugly, so you waited. Went back into accumulation, but kind of an ugly one, so you waited. Took off, and I think I spoke about this exact trade right here, this webinar. Yeah, I did. And then maybe some of the ones in here, but these are harder because it got under the 50, but it's in accumulation right now. So now this week you'd be looking at lower time frame bullishness, and you'd wait for the same things again. One of your thoughts on lower time frame indices? The lower time frame indices in gold. So like on gold, you would apply the same thing to indices, but lower time frame if you're trading a 1.660 is that you had opportunities this week on gold. John says, do you wait for a bullish candle on your validation time frame before stepping down for that entry? No. Hisham says, I've moved to the 30 minutes specifically because of this, and I'm finding executing much easier. Of course, because you have more time to think through what you're going to be doing. Hey Matt, how are you doing today? I'm good, bro. How are you? JKX says, Anton, are you trading from TradingView directly? No, I'm not. I use platforms to trade. My biggest problem is my validation time frame. Do you have any good advice on what you think a lot of people do wrong that can be easily avoided? Not waiting for the stage 1, forcing things before a clear stage 1, forcing things before markets in a clear stage 2 and a stage 1. forcing things after the move has been made. Those are probably the biggest ones off the top of my head. Anthony says, on the context time frame, you would take an entry on a stage 2 till the validation time frame just fail. On the context time frame, you would take entry on a stage 2 till the validation time frame just fail. Based on what I think you're asking, yes. The E and the V work together, the V and the C work together. Together they make a cohesive system. The V's at the center. If the V is looking clear and the context is fine and the E is fine, it's a good entry. Okay. Matt, do you do 15-minute calls so you can tell, so you can yell at me to get my shit together? Bro, if you know I gotta yell at you to get your shit together, just get it together right now. How's that? Michael says, can you tell how we can imagine or spot the end of a stage 2 on a given time frame? Yep, there's this crazy thing called a line that you can draw. And if price comes out of the line, you can assume a stage 2 has potentially started because the stage 1 has ended. Hi, what was your exit criteria exiting the mirror trade? Because you took it to the top twice. I did not take it to the top twice. Not at all. I took this one and took a partial on it here. Or here. I took a first partial on it around here. And the next partial, I think I just closed it up here. I'm not sure. I don't think I took it to the top twice, did I? I doubt it. I think I partialed into the strength, and then I closed as it came down. And then this one, I partialed it into strength around here. That was my first partial on it. And then this, I closed it in the last 5 minutes of the market. This was 4 p.m., almost 4 p.m. And I'm not holding a shitty stock like this overnight. So it didn't meet my rule to close, because I was waiting for a close below the 10 or the 20, and it was up here. So I closed it right before the close of the market around this price here. I'll even show you. I even wrote it. I even wrote it somewhere. Let me see if I can find it for you. Yeah, you can see where it was. It has a minute and 30 seconds before the market closes, and then I wrote this. I closed the full position at plus 5.5 due to the market closing in 12 minutes. Oh, in 12 minutes. So again, I didn't want it to get halted again, so I just closed it right before the overall market closed about 12 minutes from this point. So the market after this candle would be 10 minutes from closing, and I'm not holding into the close. So I just closed it because it was making a crazy move. And again, at this point, it was not worth it, right? Even if the next 10 minutes, for some reason, if they did this, if they did that, it would still not be worth me holding it for the risk that can happen on the opposite side, which is that the market closes early, called a halt, which is why you see all these gaps during the day, closes into 4 p.m., and then the next day opens up here. And then I take a loss on this trade. It's not worth that risk for me. Even if it goes another like 100% up or 200% up, I don't care. So I just closed it. That was it. So this one, I didn't close at the tops at all. I just used the rules. I partialed into strength. And the rest, I believe I closed into the weakness. And then this one, I partialed into strength. And then I just closed into the fact that I was anticipating weakness from the market closure. As says, do you take into consideration the previous stage 1 and stage 2s for how much price action you want to see on upcoming stage 1 and 2? Somewhat. If it's already had multiple setups before, it becomes a lot harder to trade it. Like a good example is, what's it called? Is it VSAT? Is this it? No. Visa? No. What was it called? Oh, I must think. There's like one stock that's just been going, something with a V. I don't know, maybe somebody knows. Something with a V. It's just been going and going. Vista? On the US market. No. LLY? I mean, kind of, but not really, because it still has its pauses and then it starts a move. THYA, this does not sound right. Yeah, no. Nope. Search on screener, I don't think it's on there. Maybe it is. The screener's gonna be fucked right now because everything is dying. Also, we don't have we don't have the stocks on here anymore for now. Cocoa. It's definitely not cocoa. Well, I mean, this is a decent example, right? Yeah, like this is a decent example. So like maybe some good moves in here, then it starts a move, then, you know, this is kind of valid and okay, and maybe you trade it in here, and then it just keeps going. And then it keeps going. Like, and this is a moment where you need to be in this trade, and this should all be profit. This will happen in trends, but this is where I don't trade this anymore. So because of the prior 1s and 2s, the fact that we haven't had a normal 1 or 2 happen yet, this is all 2 for me. And then this is the proper correction. And now we'll be waiting for a new accumulation to start. So like right now, this is beautiful. Beautiful market condition, right? Because what's happening is price is starting to build accumulation, right? So what I'm waiting for really is for price to basically make a move out of here and then start one of our moves like here. That's something I would be happy to trade, right? This kind of stage 1. But this is something that I would not touch now because, well, the moves had happened. I can't sit there and watch, like maybe this one's okay. Because it took some time, right? It sailed this 10 higher, it built a little bit of a range, and then this is the only one I would have considered right here. Let's see where it is on the weekly, because it'd be important. Yeah, so this is one that I would consider, right? But then after this point, it is so hard to trade anything else on this thing, because like this thing has just been straight up, and then it gets exponential. So like if you told me you wanted to trade here, I'd say you're whack out of your mind, right? If you were telling me you were watching this for a trade, maybe you saw something here, like even if it got a little bit tighter, I would say you're whack out of your mind, right? Because this move is done. This move needs to correct, and now it's perfect. If we can get this on Cocoa, this thing's gonna go to like 13.5K minimum. 13K, right? If we can get something like this. But this needs time. This, like looking at this probably needs weeks, maybe months, because, you know, we don't know when it's gonna get accumulated. We wanna see this happen here. Looks like bull flag. All right. I don't do names. I just do tendency. I do tendency of price. The more you try to label things as certain patterns, the more you end up screwing yourself, right? Because what's happening here is you're having a stage 2 get met with a stage 1. That stage 1 is building around kind of, if you were to put where the supply is coming in, kind of around this area here. So on a higher time frame, maybe there's a trade in here, but I'm waiting for the mini ones because these are the ones I'm interested in trading. Yeah, I would not trade that. Nope. Way too extended. Too much moves. Too many setups over and over and over again. Too many of the surfers already. Like this one was okay. This one was good. This is late. I would have been using this to just take profits. Oh, did somebody know the name of it? Someone said Vista. There was something with a V, I'm pretty sure. Like, it was insane. Or it's still maybe insane. But I don't know where it is. V. Something with a V, man. I don't know. If I knew, that'd be really nice. Anton, are you... Oh, we did that. We did that. What was your extra criteria? Oh, we went over that. What is your opinion on odd NZD? It is clear for me. I don't know. What time frames do you trade? Yeah. It's starting to get pretty good. At least on the daily. Very nice move up. Had this mini setup in here. Now it's surfing higher on the 10 and 20. Yeah, this looks great. See where it is on the weekly. Yeah, it came out of a longer term, like sideways on the weekly. Having a little pause up here. Maybe a little bit of a longer pause will be better, but we'll see. Yeah, it's not bad. What's the entry time frame showing us? Very ugly, no anticipation of the higher low rule really met yet. So yeah, needs time. Let this light come down. and then maybe build some MBs to go long. Yeah, could be good. Comparing previous stage 1 and 2. Yep, you do. I have a question from Eric. What are your exact rules for a good context and validation time frame that you go lower? We start at the V. The V's made a clear move, a very good one. Momentum, hopefully. Has gone sideways on a rising average, or a bigger average. Built a tighter range. The context lines up with that, and the fact that it's likely above a 10 MA, maybe 20 in a mini pullback. The entry is building kind of the thing you see in the portal with MBs to go higher. Those are my exact rules. You consider good validation when prices over the 250 and 10 on both timeframes, but I realize, especially after your latest master videos, that I take too much entries and bad context validation. So which rules should I implement to my context and validation, maybe SMAs? I don't know exactly what you're asking, my man. This is my overall system right here, though. Okay. System I consider good when price is over the 200, over the 250 and 10. I don't really think it has to be above or below any given move. I'm thinking in the way that I teach you to think in the portal from the very beginning, which is that prices move in distinct ways and they represent supply and demand. And we look for that interaction and we look for the clarity of that interaction. Now that clarity can be shown to you via tools, right? Like MAs, like the screener, like the models, whatever it might be. But I don't sit there looking for it to necessarily be above or below any specific thing. I'm looking at consistency across price and delivery, right? So Eric, I'm not really sure what you're asking. You take too many entries in bad context. In what sense, right? In what sense? Mohammed says, hi, Matt, I have a problem in drawing surf and tightness on validation timeframes. Take 500 images of good ones and then try again. Okay? So Mohammed, think to yourself, okay, you have a problem with it. What? Okay. Nice. Now what? Let's fix the problem, right? Nameless says, doing refinements on my system, and this was my second profitable week. I enter on the 5 minute, and nowadays I wait more for my validation time frame 30 than for my entry. Of course, that makes a lot of sense. You should be waiting for validation before entry. Also, before I had 3 to 4 trades a day. After refinements, it's even hard to get 2 a day, but I'm very happy with it. Good. Like MRK USDT 6 minute validation. MRK doesn't even show up, which means it's probably not even worth trading. Oh, MKR. Okay. On a 6 minute. Nice move, surfing the 50. Yeah. This was a nice 10 surfer here too. This was a really good one. Now it's surfing higher with the 50, putting in like a low range here. So stage 1ing over this all, yeah. Yeah, this is one to keep an eye on, exactly. Validation of the higher low rule met. Yeah, it's building an MB right now. Let me look at the EMAs here. Yeah, it looks really good. It's not bad at all. Right, what I would look for this is hopefully a move higher, a pause, and then an MB to buy stuff. Yeah, this looks great. What's the 60 doing? Coming up over the MA is kind of stuck inside them all. That might turn me away a little bit. This context is a little bit hard. But yeah. Yeah, it's definitely something that can work out. I think this one was really good. This one might be still a little bit loose. Let's go back to the SMAs. So again, give yourself the time to think through something, but yeah, it looks good. It can be a setup for sure. It's not bad. The 1 hour is a bit shitty. That probably would turn me away from it. just a little bit. But you know, there's no reason this can't make a move to like 27 and then come back down. So that's what can happen with lowers, right? Yeah, it's showing overall strength to some of the bigger names. Yeah. We'll Sol USD up to. Okay, USD. MKR USD. Whoops, got the wrong one. I mean, yeah, it's showing strength. It's sailing the 50 higher. It's putting in this little tight range to the top, right? So stage 2, stage 1, yeah. I mean, it looks great. I don't see anything against it, really. Yeah, it's clean. Good spot. I'm not against it at all. Good job, dude. Spot more of these, take more images of these before they happen, and you're in a good spot. I think it's good. I think it's good. I noticed most of the recent funded traders are using Apex. Isn't it more of futures? Is there a difference in strategy we use Forex versus futures? I really suggest, so Shane, I really suggest you watch the members portal. One of the biggest things in trading, and the biggest lie that you've been told and that you've been taught, is that there's differences in assets. There's not. They're all the same thing. You just need to wait for the actual moves to happen. Doesn't matter what fund, prop firm, broker, or anything you use, or what assets you trade. What matters is that you understand why you're trading that given thing in that moment, right? Want to adjust my testing appropriately and curious about people already having experience with the 15-minute ETF or 30-minute entry time frame. How long do they typically spend per day? That's something to definitely do a little bit of testing on, but I would assume. I mean, actually, I don't know. You have to figure that out for yourself. But again, I think below hourly entries, you're probably looking at spending more time during the day, or you have to be setting up alerts and being there when they go off. Probably. Hi, Ment, is the Ment funding website currently down? I keep getting errors. I don't know. Looks like it works. I think the 5-minute entry is a good compromise. Yeah, I mean, listen, there's always ways to work it out for yourself, for sure. But like, yeah, I mean, it's whatever, right? 5-minute entry means a 30-minute validation, right? So if you're fine with that, then yeah, you're gonna be good. So those nice 30-minute trades in here, I think. Yeah. Would have gotten stopped out or broken even anyway, but we're good. They were good up until they weren't. What was it, MKR? Keep watching this. What was it on this? 5 minute? 1 minute? What was it on? 1 minute? Oh, interesting. Very interesting. I enter on the lower time frame, the 10-second. Just so I have enough time to trade before or after news. When I was back testing on the 1 hour, I felt like I had to close and cancel so many of my orders due to news events. How do you deal with that? I don't have to close before news events on a hourly chart. Does entering on a 65-minute give you a large enough stop loss? Yes. Could you give some brief insight on strength? I'm trying to take more profits out of trades when they run in my backtesting. I've seen previously you said when price creates a big gap between MAs and MAs are also pointing up. Anything else? Nope, that's basically how strength works. If you get into a trade and then price gaps away in the first few candles, especially far away from the MAs, that's a time to consider taking a small partial and letting the rest run as it needs to. And then that's really it. It's not rocket science, you know? Price goes, if it's gonna be strength, it's gonna run away from the MAs and slope up. Hey, Ment, the past 3 to 4 months was a good first time in my trading journey, but now I have only one fear, is what will happen with me will happen again and again in future. Meanwhile, I can choose trading as full-time career and make plans for future. I'm glad you've had a good time, and I'm not sure what your fear is. Lucas says if you haven't done the work, you'll lose on any time frame. Yep, very true. Only difference is on a lower time frame, you'll lose it all in one day. Very well said. I miss a lot of moves during making coffee. Yeah, it can happen, especially on a lower time frame. Lower time frame, I like to use 3 times the ATR. Fixed SL size due to slips, like Men says, it will happen if you can't brush it off. Lower time frame isn't going to work. Yeah, for sure. I thought that was my bad that I felt this way, or that I lost sign of my trades, but it's inherently part of lower time frame. Yep. For school, which one is better? Having lower time frame to get it done quicker, or a higher time frame? Test. Higher time frame is probably better, though. I will have this video out for you guys, like I said, in the portal materials, in the course portal very, very soon. And as you know, one advantage to being higher is that I wrote it somewhere. Flexibility to work around your schedule. Less time on charts. What I do know is that if you're in school, you're probably not sitting there trading a 1-minute entry when it happens, or a 5-minute entry when it happens. So you can do with that information what you will, right? You have to figure out how to make that work for you. Test it out. Oh, therefore, I always thought about how Anton used to enter in 1 5-second trade in the double MB system. Yeah, I used to spend all my time in front of the computer. You never want to take a loss when prior good setups would take break even. Be cool with missing moves and never get in late. Yep. What do you think about this surf on gold? Would you even consider it even though 1 hour context time frame was bearish? Looks like shit. I would not trade that. However, if you have and allow yourself to have only 2 to 3 hours a day for trading, you can be a lower time trader, because when you can totally dedicate yourself during this time, you'll only trade during this time if there's setups. Yep, exactly. Very true. You can also do that. You can also select a schedule time to actually be on. Yep. Hey, Ment, please update your sheet. Okay. Evaldo's, why is this personal sheet so important? I mean, yeah, the point of that sheet is so you actually understand how to put in your own information, right? I don't even put in every single trade I've taken into it. I just try to keep it generally consistent, put in the stuff that I might have spoken about or shown you guys. But that's at midnight, so you would have to take into account when you wake up and see what sessions you trade. Yep, exactly. To be honest, some people like to spend 10 hours a day on charts waiting for trades and go out and work at a regular job for 30 minutes like me. Whatever works. A cigarette costs 5R. Yeah, that's why I just don't buy them. So you use SMAs for validation and context time frame and EMAs for entry. Yep. That is correct. How do I learn to see these validation setups? What elements made you go lower? What elements made me go lower? There was a prior big move. Price went sideways into a stage 1. I looked for the stage 2 entry. Price went higher, went sideways into a stage 1, surfed, got tight. I watched for the stage 2 higher. Are you considering to offer futures one day? Yeah, maybe one day, I don't know. We'll see what we can do. How do you know when to close early as opposed to letting it play out? When the move is moving the way it should move, I let it play out. When the move is moving how it's not supposed to move, I close early, but I very rarely close early. I usually just break even. How are your losses always -1? Because it's -1R. We think in R. Anytime I take a loss, a full loss, it's always a -1. Almost always, no matter what. And that just means that if I have a 1 mil account and I'm risking 1% per R, my 1R is equal to 10K. If I have a 1 mil account and I'm risking 0.5%, which is equal to 1R, because 1R is always your multiple of risk, then I'm risking 5K per trade, etc. Is men funding allowed in EU? Many props firms are generally banned in Germany. I don't know. If you can sign up, you can sign up, right? So you use SMAs for validation and context time frame and EMAs for entry. Yes. Where do you trade stocks? I have my brokerage with Charles Schwab. That's it. I hope it will rain so I won't get any side quests from Dad. Okay. I noticed you got the 100 to 150 MAs on for any reason. Same reason as the others. I also, yeah, it's also added to the tool that, you know, can have extra. I just didn't have the, I didn't want to add them myself, so I just had them added to the tool. Same reason as the other ones. Price will generally move in the same way. Somehow I only took 14 trades in these two zones, white. 15-second entry, 2-minute validation, 15-minute 1-hour context. I feel like I should have more trades since I'm on such a low time frame. No, you shouldn't. That's fine. 15-second entry, 2-minute validation. I mean, listen, maybe there were more trades, but 14 trades inside of these points makes sense, and you traded them in good areas. That's how it should be. I hope you made money from them. What time frame do you like the most / most success you have with? All the same. At the moment, I trade a 60-minute. That one's probably the best. But when there's a good trade on a 5-minute with a 1-minute entry, it's great because it can be very quick gains if I'm there. In what time do you think you'll upload everything you want on the members portal? Won't quote you on this, just asking out of curiosity. No idea. I have a lot of things I want to cover, and I need to cover them properly in a step-by-step way, so that's all I'm working on right now. Like, every day it's just recording / re-recording, writing down / rewriting down, and then recording, and then making sure it's perfect before I drop something for you guys. That's all I'm working on right now, and it's like my biggest goal at the moment is to get that all out. And what time, from Deathshot, and what time do you think you will upload oh yeah, wait, no, sorry. No death in the Webby yet, but we made it in the war zone. We'll be dead soon. Even in Warzone, you could bring your Starlink with you and trade. Okay, well. Alright. Got the fresh trim today. Yes, we do. Hey Anton, great to be here. Do you have some tips for the phase when you know the tools and have some kind of understanding of them, like the EVC approach, MBs, the model, structure stages, and more, and you try to form a system out of it? What are the tips when you know all the tools and have understandings? Well, it's tie them together into a system that gets you in, keeps you in, and gets you out when you're wrong, right? Eric says, why do you have these new MAs on the chart? Same reason as I have the other ones on the chart is really the answer. Do you also have them on lower time frames? Yeah, kinda. And why are you using SMAs and sometimes EMAs? SMAs for validation time frame, EMAs for entry time frame. Would ask Anton for an outlook on Forex, but I already know answer for that question. Everything is currently shit. Yes, it is. Deathshot is a very smart man. How is UJ doing? Yep. Just as we spoke about. Right, so like I look at this in 1 second and I know what I'm waiting for, right? This thing is I'll show you what this thing looks like, ready? So remember, had good moves, had great moves, had setups, went, now it's doing this. I'm gonna show you where it is in regards to something like Tesla, okay? Here's where UJ is at the moment. UJ is currently in, likely, UJ is currently likely in this state right now. And it's probably around here. This is where UJ likely is. This is what I see when I look at UJ. So all I know about UJ right now, if I look at it, is I'm ignoring it until it starts to build something higher, it starts to prove bullishness, it starts to make a move out of that bullishness, maybe it re-fails, it continues building across one of these MAs and starts, you know, putting in an overall stage 1. This is called a stage 1 on a context time frame. On a weekly, this is a stage 1. Let it make a move away, hopefully, like this. Starts maybe some kind of a move, some kind, just like that. Then might build something sideways and create a move. Build something sideways, create a move, and then that move might result in an actual stage 2. But right now, that's where I believe UJ is. So that should tell you a big story about what I expect on this in the coming That should tell you a story about how I view and expect things out of UJ in the coming 3 to 6 months. Okay? This is the cycle of a move. Let's call it that, right? This is how cycles of moves deliver. Right? Now, maybe it's a little bit less. Maybe it ends up being 3 months. Maybe, you know, maybe it doesn't have another leg down. And then it becomes 3 months. But this is how I view markets. And this is why I don't go crazy or get impatient, because I understand what this is telling me. I understand this needs to go through proper building now. New orders have to come in. The composite operator needs to start accumulating. It needs to find a way to accumulate. It's going to accumulate for a while. These are going to come down slowly. Slowly they're going to intersect. They might intersect for a while. Maybe it goes lower and then it comes up and then it loses itself and it's gone. Or they start intersecting. They play around. This starts building higher. This starts moving up a little bit. Then it comes down. Then it comes higher, makes some strength. The 10 starts sloping up, the 20 starts sloping up, the 50 starts coming out of this correction. This comes down to a 10 or 20, starts building a little range, a stage 1 comes in, and then you get your move that takes off, and we're back at all-time highs. But I understand that this is necessary. A lot of people cannot do this. They cannot look at this and say, okay, something that was bullish and we've been following for months, for years, is now a walk-away market. Remember what happened here. This is the same thing. Right? Think about where I just highlighted. This is where Tesla was. Then what happened? Price did go lower. And it actually lost all the EMAs completely. Started putting in some strength, but you know, it's not under the EMA, so you wait. Then it's starting building. Found itself on the 10 and 20. You could have traded here, which is actually where we started trading it. Then it went higher. 10 and 20. Went higher. Came down. Found itself on the rising kind of 50, but under the 50, so I probably would have ignored. Put in a nice leg. Then built a mini stage 1, went higher. Stage 1 went higher, started ignoring it because, well, you had multiple stage 1s prior and then it got a little bit choppy. Came back down, caught itself on this bigger MA, started moving higher, and then again, stage 1, stage 1, stage 1, stage 1. All this resulted in 2s, and now we're back here again. Welcome to the way the market functions over and over and over again, like just over and over again. If you don't have the patience to now sit, so actually, here we are. Okay, a disadvantage is you need to learn to be patient. Which, I mean, in some cases, for some of you are not disadvantages, but this is what is required. You need to be, like, you can see the move. Like, I know what this wants to do if it wants to make a move, but I can't sit here and trade this. Like, there's gonna be traders that join this mentorship today, tomorrow, that maybe even been here for a while and go, what do you think about UJ? Can we go? Can we take it long? If anything, this thing is showing good shorts right now, right? Ever since it lost kind of this point here, you might have started to expect shorts on it, on those lowers, right? If anything, this has been in a bear, yeah, like this is a market that's probably nicely traded on the bearish side, right? The 6 minute into a 1 minute entry became very clear for bearishness, right? And right now it's just terrible, right? You just probably wait for this thing to make a big move, go sideways, stage 1 to stage 2, and take it lower. Because right now it's not showing that it wants to be bought up in any way, right? At least on the lowers. And then if you're trading a higher, then you're stuck waiting, right? This is time to wait now. And that's hard for a lot of people to see. Like, they'll join, they'll be like, I'm ready to be profitable, I want to do it quickly, I want UJ, I want to make money, I have a prop firm and I'm with UJ, and the prop firm only offers Forex, so I need to trade Forex. Okay, well, I'll see you in a few months, right? Which ones of these would you trade? Trying to get used to your version. Don't get used to my version, build out your own. It's much easier to do that, trust me. Yeah, this one's good. This one's hard, but it's still valid. This one's good. This one's hard. It's just based on person there. This one is also hard, but it also is valid. And then, yeah, that's it. This one's hard as well. It's early, right? It shows a little bit of that bullishness. Maybe if it had a prior big move, which I don't remember if it did. Like, this is a really nice range through there and through there, but it's harder, right? It's harder to trade that because it's early in the move. Like, I don't want to sit there and be like, oh, I definitely would have traded that and taken it all the way higher, because I don't know if I would have. It's harder to spot those. But yeah, these are really good. VSAT. That might be it. This is not it. Never mind. Oh, VST. Thank you. Thank you. Who just said that? Oops. Remove. Who just said that? VST. Oh, that was Karar. Thank you, Karar. Yes. So like this is a perfect example, right? Like good move. Okay, good move. Okay, we don't know what we're doing. I can't trade this anymore. I really can't trade this. This is too hard to trade. I can't trade this. Finally, we break down. Now this is where UJ, actually, before I say what does this look like to you guys? What market does this remind you of? This is UJ, right? This is literally UJ, okay? Or NQ as well, yeah, NASDAQ too. But again, it's the same thing every time. But this is a great example where like I would not trade these. It's just too hard to at this point. Because like the moves on this thing were in these legs and maybe here, right? And then it's just so hard to trade this thing and it's just made a move, right? This is where you should be in profit. This is where you're managing. These should be the profits of you managing your trades. And this will happen on some markets. It's not always gonna happen. It's very rare that this happens, but when it does happen, it's a beautiful time. It is a beautiful time. So thank you for that. Yes, this is a great example. Can you give me some examples? How do you BE? I don't know, what did MKR do? Did that give us a break even if we wanted to trade it? It was on a 1 minute? Where's this thing at? So like this probably would not be a break even for me, right? So I'd still be in this thing. What was this entry based on? What time frame? This time frame? Yeah, so I'd probably still be in this because there wasn't enough strength. Like if it took out this high, I'd probably break even. It's very close, but I'd probably be in this still, right? So you'd enter. If this high got broken through, that'd be enough strength for me to break even. But right now it's not. So right now what I'd wait for, well, honestly, it's building up. Like this is one of those reasons, this is one of those areas where you probably just take a break even. It kind of got choppy, didn't it? Let me get rid of some of the stuff here. Let's go like this. Yeah, so like this is one of those moments where it's becoming clear again. It's looking good, but I'd probably just take the break even right here, right? On this move, or the mini profit now, right? I'd close this as is, and then I'd let this thing become a better setup now because it's meeting the anticipation rule, and now it might build another MB, and that's the MB I'd be willing to take now, right? Through the high, like so, right? Because again, in this case, it almost met break even, but it didn't. Then it broke down, then it started making a better move. So now there's really no reason to be part of it unless you really just believe in it and you want to hold it, right? So that's an example. But again, there's no perfect BE rule. The BE rule is I BE into strength. I BE when I assume the move is probably ready and I don't want to take risk on it anymore. That's my example. And I'll give more examples and show real management of my own trades in the thing, but like here, where's Mira? I traded this week, right? I'll show you when I broke even on this. I broke even on this move at the open of this one. Okay? I broke even on this move at the open of this candle. Okay? Because it was just clear strength. Right? Then if we go back to MKR. MKR, right? Is it MKR? Right? This had strength. This was good strength, but then it never took out this high. If we just took out that high, I'd probably break even on this thing. Right? Because that'd be enough strength for me at that point. That's it. Men funding stock trading too. No shot. Just so you know, again, I've told you guys multiple times and I've gotten it right over and over and over again. I've gotten so many prop firms going out of business and I told you guys to do your research properly and don't go with ones that just look good because it sounds good. Here's my next prediction. Any prop firms offering stocks are likely going to be out of business. Okay, very simple. Just be careful. It's very, very simple. So when your money is lost, which it likely will be, just know if you want to trade stocks on especially US stocks, you should be doing it with regulated American brokers because of the regulations behind them. Anybody offering it is doing so in a very, I don't know how, and I'm not gonna speak on them, but I would say in a very interesting way, likely. So. Ment, are you playing League? If yes, what's your rank? Yes, I play League here and there. And I'm like Masters 120 or something right now. What do you guys think is the lowest possible time frame to trade without looking at news? You should always be aware of what's going on news-wise. Not in terms of what the news is, but that there's news happening. Ment, how many times a day do you brush your teeth? Why are they yellow? Twice. Twice. TV alerts are also a thing, guys. Yep, you can also set alerts. It's very true. What do you think about the surf on the 5-minute gold? Ugly. For lower time frame, you can make a rule for yourself like 2 -1s in a row and you stop entering for the day. Yeah, you can do that too. But then, like, so the problem with that, of all this, is that is relativity. Okay, what I mean by that is, you know, if there's a market and it ends up in a good condition, you know, let's just say the bullish side here, it ends up in a good condition, and then you take a trade out of that good condition, you take a loss. Let's say you took a loss, and then you take another trade, and let's say you took a loss. Right, that's 2 losses on the day, but the reality is the momentum's there and the market's there. And it's not going to be there in a potentially another day or in 2 days from now, right? It might not be there because this is the money that's coming in now. So this is like 3 months of action or 6 months of action on a stock. And I would trade, especially if they're showing strength, likely all these areas, right? And then if you choose not to trade now, you're missing out on the actual moves that you should be taking because you're scared of taking more losses in the day. Right, but the problem is when people take 2 losses in a day on, let's say, a lower time frame, they start doing emotional things and dumb things because they want to make those losses back. So, you know, they'll do dumb things and actually lose more. So you might need a rule like that, but then a rule like that actually limits the system because if you want to be a lower time frame trader, you still, for the most part, need to look for the moves that are good and trade them, right? So it's like a two-edged sword, which is why, again, your emotions and conviction have to be there and be square because you need to be able to execute when it's time to execute, right? Yeah. Same thing on the downside, right? If you, for any reason, like, took this somewhere and took a loss, then took, like, this and took a loss, well, actually, then it's done. Because both of those would be very nice wins anyway, but whatever. Do you think it's worth to take a 1-hour trade on EuroCAD? Well, the better question is, do you think it's worth to take a 1-hour trade on EuroCAD? What? No. This is the exact issue I just discussed. This webinar. When you're a higher time frame trader, when you miss a trade, you start thinking of any way you can get into it now. Right? Like the trade might have been somewhere in here. It's a little bit hard, but it was probably somewhere in there. This is you asking to lose money now. Okay? All right, there's nothing to take up here. Nothing to take up here. This is the I wanted a trade, I didn't get the trade and it might be moving without me, so I just want to force something if I can. That is just not a smart way to approach it ever. Never. Like, yeah, what are you trading up here? What is there to trade up here? I don't know. You have to be very careful. I'll tell you what, right now, you entering up here is the equivalent of you trying to maybe enter here, right? Or it's the equivalent of you trying to enter, let's find another breakout, a good one. Yeah, so one happens here, and then you're trying to enter right here, or right here. And you're like, I gotta get the move. It's gonna go without me. But, you know, the move happened. The move might have been somewhere in here if you did trade it. If you like that sideways action, you know, there could have been a trade down inside of these MBs right here. SPGI, I think last time I looked at it, it was very ugly. Oh wait, maybe I'm thinking of the wrong thing. Yeah, it had a move here. This is a nothing for me right now. This is, you just have to wait. It's showing strength though, which is good. Let it go sideways while the market starts picking back up, or something like that. And yeah, this could be a great move. Yeah. Yep. Needs more sideways probably. Let it play. You know, I mean, it's highly depends on your rules. If this is valid for you, then good to go. I mean, it is in a, you know, it made the stage 2. It's in some stage 1, but this is not clear enough for me yet. I like a little bit longer. I like it to be more clear. This seems choppy to me. It's not perfect. So this is something that I would not trade. What about this surf was so bad? Was the prior price action that turned you off? Yep. Very ugly. Choppy. Prior action sucks. Price not coming out of any ranges. Not in some kind of potentially clear stage 2. At that point, I assume the context time frame is stuck in a range. Like, I don't even have to look at it to know the context time frame right here is likely stuck in a range. Like, what is this, a 5 minute? I know the 30 minute in this case here is probably like, I don't know, 30 minute probably had some kind of, I mean, I don't even know. I think the 30 minute probably looks something like this. It probably not even at the 10. I don't even know what the 30 minute's probably doing here, but it doesn't look like it would be good. But again, that's where I don't even care about the context time frame because the validation's not there for me. For lower time frames from Evaldis, you can make, oh, we just spoke about that one. What is the difference between the EMA and the SMA? The EMA is exponential, the SMA is simple, calculated. Eric says, what is the difference between a swing point ICI and an equal high/lows ICI from the mental effect structure indicator? Nothing. Nothing is different. Anything is possible when you put your mind into it. Yes. What do you think of this? What do you think of NZD USD short? Again, on what time frame? On what EVC? On mine? Okay. You're way too late. There's nothing to do. You have to wait. There you go, man. Like, there is no way. I wouldn't even ever have to even step down to the entry time from here. There's nothing to do. Right? UJ this week. Oh, you're on the lower time frames. Yeah. Nice. You used the anticipation of the higher low rules. Entered the MBs. This one's very late. That's a bit crazy. And this one's also pretty late. And didn't really correct yet. I would hope this wants to go lower and then do something if it was to make a move. But this one makes sense. Like if you just use the anticipation of the higher low rules, that looks good. And it looks like this is a 6 minute, probably building some kind of stage 1 there. You can kind of see the stage 2 into the stage 1. Yeah, this one's really good. I like that one. This is a little bit late, but it's okay. This is terrible. This one, I hate this one. Is this live price now, or did this work out? What happened to this one? I wonder what happened to this one right here. In my, that's something I would want to know. If I pull 500 trades in backtest and my win rate is above 50-60% or above, am I ready? If the RR is good, yes. If the RR is bad, no. Forward testing his plan for the last 3 months. Told myself I won't go live until I hit 100 trades. Let's see what you got. Let's see what you got, my man. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. It looks good. It looks great. Average win on your RRs are small. Your break evens are basically making you money. That's what I see when I see this, right? Your break evens are the reason you're extremely profitable. It's good. I love it. In my backtest, I break even at 1-to-1, and I'm not sure if it saves me RR or not. Well, what happens if you don't break even at 1-to-1? If you're waiting 3 to 6 months for UJ to shape up on the daily, should lower time from traders also be sitting out until then? What do you think the answer to that is, John? If my EVC, or my V's around a daily and I need to wait for that, does that mean an EVC on the 1 minute, 6 minute, and 30 minute, or 1 hour need to wait for the daily the same way. Yes, because the 1 day would be choppy. Nope. It's a different EVC. It's a different market. When you're looking at an EVC of a lower market, it's very different. So let me ask you a further question. Here's Mira. Here's something I traded on a 1-5 1 hour based move. At the time, was the daily in a perfect market for taking a trade? Nope. On a daily, I would be expecting this to chop around, do nothing, and never make me a move. So why do you care that if I have to wait for UJ to be clear, why does that mean you'd have to wait? It's a very different market when you look at the EVC associated with your timeframes. It's very important that you stick to the EVC associated with your timeframes or the general consensus of them. Right? This is the equivalent of me going to UJ. Actually, not UJ. What's something I trade? It's the equivalent of me going to ESS. This is something I traded. Actually, yeah, ESS, something that I traded, and going, well, okay, well, the 12-month is not bad here, actually. So let's try something else. NVIDIA, ARM. I don't know. I need something that's kind of beaten down, but also a good setup, or potentially a good setup. Okay, great. RCAT. Great daily setup, great strength, great moves, has a great move here, then makes a one here. This is the equivalent of me going, but the 12-month needs 20 years to be good. Therefore, I will not trade the daily. I will be patient. It's nonsense. You are disconnecting. You are disconnecting way too disproportionately the E from the C, and you're taking yourself to you're taking yourself to the moon and hoping that it has some kind of take on your market, on your system. But just this alone, just that alone, would have created a market condition that could have made me, still going actually, 20% on my account or more. So no. You cannot stick something that is too disassociated from the system onto the system, right? It just doesn't make sense. If I have to wait for my daily to be good on UJ, it does not mean that the others are not good for potential trades, right? Because what's the hourly doing? I mean, this probably needs time. Don't get me wrong, but there's nothing here to do. But during individual days, you might have some clear move like this. This is a good move on a 6 minute. I don't know what the context is doing here. This is where you would highlight, take picture of a context, get used to it, right? Yeah, it came out of this 1 hour based context here, started going sideways just above a rising 10. There's nothing wrong with this trade, right? That might be a trade you want to take. I mean, it has all the tendencies that you'd want to see. These are phenomenal. These are absolutely phenomenal. This is this is a 10 RR gain on your account. Why are you sitting here going, but wait, the daily. This is the equivalent, remember, this is the equivalent of, but wait, the 12-month is down here. Therefore, I will not touch it. Come on, it doesn't make sense. Funny because I used to focus on 35-1 and you suggested considering higher times as well, so I started considering the higher, and now they're less important. Yeah, they're important in regards to the EVC. The EVC is the timeframes you're mostly invested in, you're mostly interested in. So as a 1 minute trader, I'm currently considering 1 day and below. That's not the best move anymore. You can. I've always taught the same rules, man. I've always taught the same rules. Listen, you can take a one-on-one if you want to go a lot more deeper into this, all right? If we want to do something like that, but the general EVC is that you want to follow these. I don't sit there looking at the 12-month for my daily validation, right? I just don't. It's too far disconnected. It's too far away from it. But for some people, it's a little bit different, right? There's some people that are going to want to take into account the 12-month. They'll say this is a market they won't trade. They'll only trade markets that look like this on a 12-month, which is fine. Those are different systems. Hi, man. How do you anticipate a sideways price on a specific time frame? Is it after price extended? I spoke about some of this earlier, but through the rules that I always go for. I don't anticipate sideways price. I anticipate good moves. If the good move is not happening, I anticipate that it's going to be shit. And shit means sideways, choppy, up and down, volatile. That's really it. So you say if you're waiting the 3 to 6 months for UJ to shape up, would the lower time from traders 1 minute also be sitting out? No, you would not be sitting out that long. You'd probably sit out a little if you want to wait for clear moves. But no, not at all. I released a few videos publicly on YouTube on gold on a lower time frame system if you traded one. And a lot of the trades taken were inside of some of this action. I mean, yeah, and some of this action lined up with the daily in this case, right? So you can make that also work for you if that's something that makes a lot more sense to you. But then again, I also released a video where I took something here. And at this time, I don't know where the daily was. At this time, where was the daily? Yeah, the daily was here at that time. So again, that's just, and in this case, it's different. Gotta go, I got side quest. All right, I'll see you, Bede. Lucas says, guys, I've checked all my email folders, but can't find the updated structure indicator with more MAs. Is there any way I can download it, or am I being stupid? Delete it off your list. Click close, reload your trading view, and open it right here. If you can't say why stocks with firms is a bad idea, can you point us in the right direction as to why that's so? Regulation. There is no proper regulation that will actually, or that should give you the ability to offer stock trading without the proper licenses and all the stuff associated with that. And that's basically it. And CFDs of stocks are pretty much banned, I believe, in the US. So I would trade it with a regulated broker. What do you think about GBP CAD? What do you think about it, Nico? So basically on validation time frame, we want higher lows. Sure. You want a stage 2 followed by a stage 1, followed by the hopeful stage 2 is what you want, right? I don't know, how do we anticipate? Okay, cool. Going to take my challenge in the beginning of August. Good. Quick question. Let's see. I've been building my system out on a 5-minute entries. I found that a daily for me is as far as I'll go for waiting for a clear context. Okay? From personal experience, is the daily and the 4-hour too far away from 5-minute entries? So 5-minute entries puts you at an EVC of 530, 300. And 300 minutes is 5 hours. And 5 hours is not too far disconnected from 24 hours. So no, I think they're not too far disconnected. I think it's fine. I think if you find that going up to 5 hours max is more than enough for you, then good. You don't have to go higher, but I don't think a daily is disconnected at all. I think if you then told me you're using a monthly, I would say, you know, if you've done the testing, you've realized that you only make money or good money when the monthly is lining up too, then great. By all means, perfectly fine, which is one of the things I offered to John. And I said, listen, if you're consistently just fucking yourself and not doing it right and looking at things that are bad because, well, you can't wait for a move to happen, wait till it's in a clear move. And then, yeah, you can you can find the trades in here rather than looking for the trades in here off of those much lowers, which is fine. But in my opinion, it's too far disconnected and I don't care for that, right? Because I know I can get more opportunities by trading more price, but I can wait for and be patient for the moves that I want to see, right? Instead of forcing the things that could be bad or considered not so clear in those areas. So no, I don't think anything's wrong with that. And again, importantly enough, you know, if we go to any stock, right? If I go to a 5-hour chart, here's a 5-hour chart. What do you notice between a 5-hour chart and a daily chart? Right, they're the same thing because the stock market's only open for like 5 hours a day. So, you know, when you realize this, you start to really see that like it's not too far disconnected to be on a 5-hour, 6-hour up to a daily because they're actually very closely connected. And if a market is only liquid, very liquid for 6 hours of the day, What does that actually mean about the general time frames? Well, that means the daily is going to take into account most of what happened on a 5-hour move, right? So UJ on the 5-hour, like, you know, there's only a few candles that amount for most of the move. And that happens for that one day, right? Or whatever it might be. So yeah, I don't think it's too far disconnected at all. I think you're good. Bitcoin the other week was a good example where the 1-hour context cleared up, even though the 1 day was below the MAs. I think Bitcoin's been a good market since like around this point here. 1-hour context. 1-hour context. I mean, I think the hourly context has been kind of decent since like these points here onwards. And then that means the 6-minute-ish entries were pretty much good since these points. Exactly. Yeah, this looks beautiful. Yeah, this looks exactly like my mirror trade. Like, or not mirror. This looks exactly like my serve trade. If you remember this really quickly, look at this after. Yeah. Like, again, you'll get used to seeing the same. Like, look at this, and then look at this. Where is it? There it is. They are virtually, there you are. They're virtually the same exact move, right? It's just that Bitcoin in this case worked, and the thing I traded, the serve thing or whatever, at whatever point I traded, just didn't. But they're the same move. Like, I really, here, I'm gonna get this across right now. Let me go like this. The Ment special, okay? This is where we do the Ment special. How do we do this? And then where's serve? There it is. Okay, good. Sweet. Like, I don't know if you guys can see that, but like there's there's a little bit of difference, but there's virtually like no difference, right? Like, right, when you get used to seeing the setups you want to see, you just trade them when they show up. All right, this is like, it's almost equivalent. I don't know, maybe you guys disagree, but when I look at this, I see a similar stage 1, 2, and then a delivery out of that. I'll see what you guys say. Okay, everyone's saying it's basically the same. Okay, I agree. This is virtually the same thing. And if you want to go deeper and really give full rules to it, right? Big move. Here we go. Big move. Right? Starts building these higher lows, whatever you want to call it, on just the rising 20/rising 10 as it comes and crosses down. Starts building it on the rising 20/10 as it starts crossing down. Price goes sideways across the high. Puts in like a little candle, at which the high you can be buy stopping through. And then lower time frames are probably looking the same exact way. Like, if anything, this one looks perfect, probably. Was this one serve? Oh no, this one was Bitcoin, yeah. So like this, you can tell this one's gonna be better because like if I look at this, right, I see the anticipation of the higher low rule already. I know what's happening. I know what's happening right here. I know what's happening inside of these. Right, like you can see the move. You know, I'd go and check it. To double check it. But you just see the move. Here we go. You're gonna see it perfectly, right? Like, yeah, I mean, it's phenomenal. It's just the most perfect thing you can imagine, right? Anticipation of the higher low rule. MB buildups begin, but that was still part of the buildup. MB buildups begin, and I mean, like, it's just perfection. It's pure perfection, right? Like, this is just phenomenal action. Phenomenal. What, 92? 92, probably under the MAs. I think this comes down, right? Oh no, it doesn't. Okay, nice. Yeah, and then probably break even after the break of this high right here, I would assume. Or maybe even on this gap, I don't know. And then I think you get a crazy move out of this one. Like a crazy, crazy move. I'm not 100% sure, but I think it was crazy, right? Yeah. Even if you just followed the 10, you're getting out of this up here for 18. And then if you follow any bit of a different... I mean, yeah, it depends on how you hold these trades, but, you know, theoretically off the Instagram stories, you know, 54 RR, wow. But, you know, I don't trade that way. Probably get out here and then start watching for the next move. You know, and then this, it starts building something. It may be okay. Like if you started trading something in here, especially here, would have made a little bit of sense probably. Here for sure. This is a phenomenal move right here on Bitcoin right here. And I'm assuming the hourly at this point does the same thing. It's probably just over the 10 and going sideways, or it has just been going sideways over the 10. Because that's oftentimes what I've seen from the context time frame. Yeah, there you go. Just coming over the sideways moving, sorry, the higher moving 10, just there, coming out of the sideways. That's the context time frame. And again, like I'm assuming the daily, and there you go, right? In this case, for someone like John, the daily is also in line with that if that's something you wanted to wait for. Nothing wrong with that. You might just be someone that doesn't take the trades inside of these points, even though they may be valid for a 6-minute system, right? That's all. You just, you take away the things that might be a little bit more choppy or unclear to you, and you start just trading the stuff that's extremely black and white to you. Wealthy cases, don't get mad, but now that we are towards the end, can you show your candle colors? Yeah, you have the white and the fourth black, and then everything else is black. And then these are set to the natural, but what I did is I put these 150, 100, and 200 at 50%. Just so it's not too pronounced. Damn, you know what would be nice? If Bitcoin can do what it did here, over here. You know how nice that would be? Oh my gosh. Oh, that'd be a crazy time. That would be a fun time. Oh, that'd be so good. Pinned. Pi Industries. What the fuck is this? Oh, okay, I see. Indian Stock Exchange. Okay, I got you. So look, a little bit of chop for sure, but has the styles of a clearer mover. Let me get rid of this. You know, start showing some clear strength in here. Still choppy, but clear strength. Comes down, gets caught in all these moving averages, you know, starts building that accumulation. This is definitely a stage 1 on a higher time frame. This is like a gray line, right? This is a stage 1 on a higher time frame. So this is a stage 1 on a weekly and comes out of that. This right here on a weekly is going to be what? Price going sideways a little bit on a rising 10. Ready? Beautiful. Yeah, this is a great trade if you traded it. Now, I think the better trade was probably in somewhere in here, right? Served higher, kind of put in this, like right through here was pretty good. This is a harder one up here, right? Harder, much harder. I probably would not have traded this. It makes sense, but I would not have traded this. This is hard for me to spot. So it's still a little bit choppy, right? This is where it was not choppy, then it got choppy. But yeah, I mean, like, listen, you're in this and it looks like it's working. So, you know, all I can do is say, good job. So it's a good spot, but I think the better entries were right inside of here. Like off of these MBs right here. Right here. And this looks like it probably would have ended up a break even for me anyway. But yeah, dude, congrats. I mean, if you're in it, you're in it, right? If you're in it, you're in it. Yeah, that's the Indian Stock Exchange, bro. Got a family meal? I'm off, guys. See ya, brother. Disgustingly good. Yeah. Ment approved. Go Ment funding. You cut the most important part of the sheet. We need the curve. I mean, you know the curve's gonna be profitable. 2 seconds. You know it's profitable. I don't know how it's profitable. Like, I don't know how it's gonna go up, but I know it's going up. MB's higher and higher, man. Yep. When you can MB buy stop a curve, you know it's a good curve. That's it. As simple as it is. Got to go. Thank you for your time, man. I'll see you, CMD. Thanks for being here, man. Comp says, haha, it's funny. I was leaving so much money on the table by waiting for the monthly to line up for my 1 minute entries. Been seriously testing entries with higher time frame, unclear context, and there's so much potential. That's what I was telling you, man. Exactly. Like, if you need it to line up, perfectly fine. Let it line up, because if that's what stands between you and actually understanding what's going on in the market, good, use it. But in my opinion, it's so far disconnected that, why are we waiting for that monthly? Because the move is going to be the same on that 20 minute into the 5, or that, that 5 hour into the 20 minute into the 5. That's going to make a really nice setup and go for the same amount that it would normally go for even on a monthly chart. It's just that you might get that less than that 0.001% where the monthly also just takes the fuck off, and goes when it's already bullish or something. But yeah. What do you think about the total 3 index? I don't even know what that is. Total 3. Oh, crypto. Bullish. Before even looking at it, I probably know it's bullish because Bitcoin, as the number 1, has been showing insane strength and is moving beautifully. So this is going to be less strong than Bitcoin. Bitcoin's better. But yeah, this is choppy. It chops. But yes, it is beautiful. It is beautiful. This is going up. At the moment, it looks like it's going up. Okay, don't buy it just because I said it's going up, because it's not how markets work. But yes, this looks phenomenal. I'm gonna put on my SMAs. Yes. It looks really good. It looks really good. Listen, this upcoming week, my eyes are in the Bitcoins. GBTC, Bitcoin USD, MSTR, and I'm probably gonna look up all crypto-related stock names, okay? Crypto-related stock names. I'm probably going to go through all of these. I'm probably going to go through all of these and others and look, okay? Now, some of them are, some of them are stupid. I'm going to, look them up. Like, AMT, what is this thing? I don't know. What do they do? Crypto. Listen, I'm as dumb as it comes. Blah, blah, blah. Fintech, blah, blah, blah. Financial, don't care. Not interested, actually. Does not look like Bitcoin to me. I'll just go through and do some of this. These actually don't look like crypto. I don't know what this is. Right, but I'll literally just do that. Coinbase, that's probably one to check. Here we go. This probably makes more SQ Riot. I think Riot is crypto. Riot Crypto, what do they do? Beautiful. So I know this is something that I would want to take a look at, because I know crypto's strong right now, right? So I'd look at this and I'd say, you know what? Ugly, terrible, no. Nope. All right, done. I did my work. Don't need this. Right, so again, I'd go through and do this on on the crypto things or stuff related to crypto, because they're gonna show strength. They're gonna show setups, and if their setups are good, I wanna be in them, right? That's a hard one. They made a nice move. Higher rising average. I mean, you can see even on a shitty thing, it's setting it up. It's not ready yet, but it's setting it up. Maybe another day or two, and it could be a setup. Yeah, guys, listen, it looks like a lot of these crypto names want to go for a leg higher. Right now, everything they're doing is screaming leg higher, leg higher, leg higher. My eyes are definitely on a lot of the crypto names, okay? Very simply. Because they're showing insane strength. They're just showing insane strength right now. And you can see context time frame. Look at this. It's so beautiful. Right? Coming up over the 10 and 20, basically ready for another move higher. Maybe we get another week of sideways or 2 weeks of sideways. That would be even better. That would be so good. Again, we can't force it to do what we want it to do. We just have to trade what we were given. But yeah, this is cryptos are in my eyes. Okay, I fancy them right now a lot. When you follow your system, the losses, wins, and break-evens all look the exact same. Yes. Is the 10 and 20 EMA 100%? Yeah. Been testing a management system. I really like 3 candles on the validation for first partial. Yeah, literally 3 to 7 candles, but 3 is usually a good number. Anton, something else I've noticed is that my ideal 2050 SMA setups often happen inside of the first correction without any surf. Waiting for a longer surf feels like I'm giving up on my favorite setups, so then trade the ones that work. But it also seems to keep me out of trouble or chop at times. Has that been your finding as well? How do you know there's no surf here? I don't see the 10. This looks like the 20. The 10's probably like this. Let's move sideways. It's probably a good setup in there. And this is probably on the 10 beautifully. And here. So there's probably good setups here. I don't know. Listen, if you were more profitable, not had better setups, but were more profitable, trading your normal system like this, even with the chop that you would trade, then trade that, right? If you didn't, then of course, you need to change some things about understanding what stages that you actually want to trade in, or what moments of action you're willing to trade in. The total 3 is without Bitcoin and Ethereum. Oh, okay. Meant, is your broker different for stocks, crypto, and Forex? No, because I trade crypto through ETFs, which are stocks, basically stocks or stocks. Okay, I don't have a crypto broker at the moment, so I can't trade a lot of those cryptos, which I really want to trade because I think it's such easy money right now on some of them. But no, it's the same broker. I use the same broker for everything at the moment. Yeah, this thing is cooking something right now. It's definitely cooking something. Murphy's Law? What's Murphy's Law? I forget. What is Murphy's Law? I don't remember. Does the triangle fit there? What can go wrong will? Bad things are always happen if they're paper to happen. All right, whatever. Sure. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong. Yeah, true, true, true. Very true. I mean, it's building. It looks good. It might be ready. All right. We'll keep an eye on this for the coming week. But yeah, it's getting there. What are your 6 MAs now? There's these. Not sure about profitability, but waiting for surf often means skipping the cleanest, prettiest setups. In these 2 examples, I don't see any clear high or lows or sideways action. Do you see these area as surfs? Depends on how you draw them or look at them. Sure, they can be. Yeah. See, this is a better surfer. Also, these are EMAs. It looks like. This one's harder, but you know, based on how you look at it, this is just a tiny little pause. And again, you might find that your best trades come from tiny pauses. Tiny pause. Right? Tiny pause. Which means that you might even get an entry in here. And if that is the case, then you take a loss there. And that's fine. Zesh, finished watching the whole course, took me 1 year. What have you taken from it? Was it worth it? is the question now, right? But congrats, man. That's huge. That's absolutely huge. Yeah, I can't wait to get the portal taken care of to get you guys, what do we call it? To get you guys certificates as well. Because by the end of the actual proper course curriculum of the mastery, there will be a real test. So you better be taking fucking notes. All right? But you will get an actual certificate. Okay, good one. Good one. Your eyes on Bitcoin as well? Yeah, I mean, listen, my eyes are on Bitcoin as well. Listen, okay? I definitely want to watch it. I'm definitely watching it, yeah. For sure, for sure. The Ment exam, exactly. So long as the prior move is clear, the validation can be a bit flexible. It depends on your rules, yeah. If you like stage ones that do this, right, and they go sideways like that, and that's your stage one, sure, right? You don't have to complicate it. If every move that's good for you, every time it happens is a move like this, right here, then trade it. You know your system is stage one, shorter term stage two, that goes sideways, then I want to enter through this stage two. Stage one, shorter move stage two, I want to enter through it here. It's fine, nothing wrong with that. But that also means stage one, stage two, you'll probably enter here and you'll take a loss. That's fine. Be aware of that. That's gonna happen. Stage one, stage two, you take an entry, you might take a nice win. Right? If you find that that's the setup you want to take and it works really well for the kind of person you are, because trading is individual based, very unique to yourself, to you as a person, to tailoring the way that you operate, the way that you think, the trades that make sense to you, then those are the trades you should be looking for, right? You don't need to complicate that. Do we get a cookie if we pass the test? No. No cookies. No fucking cookies for anyone. Only for you, Pez. Only for you. All right, guys. I'm gonna wrap it up. We're like, what, hour? No, what am I saying? 11, 12. 12, 1, 2.5? Jesus Christ. How does it happen? How does it happen?